Welcome to Visionaries Global Media, your number one source for podcasting entertainment. Visionaries Global Media, envisioning excellence on a global scale.
Tonight on the Band from Ringside podcast, Brian Danielson puts his career on the line. Shane McMahon has a meeting with Tony Khan. We got your SummerSlam predictions, your G1 nights 5 through 8 recap, and there was so much fucking wrestling this week. There was a pay-per-view that we're not even going to talk about. That and a whole bunch more tonight on the Band from Ringside podcast.
Damn, dog. You just throwing us all
just threw everybody under the bus.
God damn.
I know, it's not cool. Ditch that 9 to 5. It's time to feel alive. Hello, Marks, and welcome to the Band from Ringside podcast. As always, I'm your host, Bill Vagey, a.k.a. Johnny Grappleseed, and sitting directly across from me.
Yes.
Thank you for selling that like you didn't know it. And sitting directly across from me, we have Jason Cornelius Bell. What's going on, JCB?
Ain't nothing but a BFR thing, baby. 3 loped out beefers going crazy. VGM is the label that pays, man. Unfadable, so please don't try to fade it. On that lovely note, I'll ask the congregation to bow their heads as I read from the latest edition of the Band from Ringside podcast, volume 371, chapter 3, verse 14 of the Good Smart Saith, hashtag boo the heels. It's all good, baby. Listen, share, subscribe, repeat, the holy trinity of BFR. Huge week of wrestling, predictions on the back end, G1, AEW, like the man said, we got a whole bunch of shit to talk about.
And out there in Portland, Oregon, we have Two Beers, Zach Pullman. What's going on, Two Beers, Zach?
Beer for Western House.
There was so much wrestling this week. Even as a big pro wrestling fan, it's kind of like having a higher libido partner than you actually are when you're like, yeah, I really enjoy this, but this is too much. That's kind of how I felt this week.
I'm going to spit that water right out.
No Vice tonight. He'll be back sooner rather than later, I think. Like the boys have said, there was so much wrestling, but I do have to tell you a story that happened to me today as it relates to an ongoing bit here that's on the show. So I went to Fish the last 2 nights here in St. Louis. Tremendous shows, as always. As many of you know, I do go to Fish once a year, 2 or 3 shows. This year they came to St. Louis. It was awesome. I woke up today, took the day off yesterday, took the day off today to recover, and there was going to be a gentleman coming here. And, Lowe's was sending people here to put in floors, hardwood floors, in 2 of our rooms upstairs, the other 2 bedrooms. I put in a hardwood floor into the 3rd bedroom a few months ago by myself. Did it. It looks good. It took me about 3 fucking weeks. Like, no joke. So I'm expecting, they're going to get 2 floors done today. I'm expecting them to send a team of 3 dudes, right? Nope. 1 dude shows up at 8 a.m. I'm like, are you working by yourself today? He's like, yeah. I'm like, you're going to put in all these floors and these baseboards today by yourself? He's like, yeah. I was like, well, I did this room. He's like, how long did it take you? And I was like, I did it on my lunch break. Like, what the fuck are you talking to? Like, I don't have to answer that question. But
I just see your people move along.
But I was here all day as this guy just goes to town on these 2 rooms, and I literally felt like I was in the cuck chair in my own home for all day. Like, this guy is so much more handy than me. When I told him how long it took me to do the 1 room, he said, what do you do for a living? And I was like, typical douchebag suburb answer. I was like, I work in finance. He's like, I'm sure you're very good at your job. I was like, yeah, that just fucking owned.
He just put the dick on your face.
I know. He slept with my wife 30 seconds later. Anyway.
Unbelievable.
I was laughing to myself about the cuck chair all day. He did 8 to 5, man. He got it all done by himself. It was unbelievable. One of the most professional things. If you're in the St. Charles area, his name's Fabio. That's all I got.
That makes it even worse.
God, he was
the name Fabio.
Just very professional. He was tremendous. He even went into the other room and kind of fixed what I fucked up too.
You do sound like somebody that was sitting in the cuck chair.
I was in the cuck chair. I was sitting in the cuck chair. Let's get to that 3 count.
I was saying, gay this motherfucker, ringing endorsement and everything.
Thing was, by the end of the day, I was kind of liking it.
You ain't shit.
He got in there real good.
Man, I can't even breathe.
Jason, you're up.
Jeez Louise. Let's just do it.
I should say that we're starting a little bit before 9 o'clock Central Standard Time. Last week, I let it get a little unwieldy. Let's try to keep it to a 2-hour and 5-minute podcast, okay?
Shit, niggas, say less.
All right.
We're going to start WWE on the one count. Obviously, we'll bookend it with our SummerSlam predictions on the back end, but let's start with SmackDown first. Opening SmackDwn, let me make sure I'm seeing this right. Is that Cody? Am I reading this right?
Sorry. So it was the Bloodline. Bloodline opened it up. Yep.
Okay, reviewing from last week, and then it opens with, make sure I'm saying that right, it's Cody's rebuttal. No, Cody doesn't rebuttal. Let me see that again.
It was LA Knight versus Santos Escobar.
Yep. Okay, thank you. LA Knight and LA Knight cuts the promo on the way to the ring. I love the backstage promo going to the ring. I think that's just something that unique in the Triple H regime. I've said that before. Santos Escobar, God bless him, thought he was going to come out to take the L. Obviously, he did, but then as soon as he did, Logan Paul comes in, jumps LA Knight, puts him down, so obviously adding more fuel to the fire of their upcoming U.S. title match. Then on the back end, Logan Paul cuts another tremendous promo. I can't wait to see this match. This is one of the 4 or 5 matches that really stand out for their own individual reasons. This one stands out for the fact that, like I said, they can both talk. We'll see them one more time before Saturday night on SmackDown tomorrow night. So at some form or fashion, that they will interact again. That to me is going to be the most interesting thing. Myself, like I said last week, I'm into the match. I know you guys are going to be on the fence at best, to say the least. But like I said, for me, this was another good build for their SummerSlam match.
Zach.
Yeah, really well executed angle, like start to finish. I'm a few beers deep, so I forget the name of that guy who took Kevin Dunn's job, but he is fucking awesome. He really is a big boon to the current WWE product. Really like the fresh shit that we're seeing every week, like that promo from backstage on the way in. And yeah, this was well executed, and really the build to SummerSlam has been excellent, and this has been a big part of it.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to the match. We got predictions coming up later, but I thought that this was well done. I agree with Zach. I like the walk and talk promo before the match. I like seeing Gorilla. Shit's popping.
Naomi backstage, they're trying to figure out why Blair Underwood attacked her after the match. Obviously, that's going to go forward. Speaking of the ladies, because you had Bianca and Jade interacting with Naomi, they had a tag match. Who did they have the tag match against? It ultimately doesn't matter.
The Unholy Union. No.
TW.
TW. I don't know. Let me see it. Go ahead.
Squash match, essentially. It really doesn't matter.
No, that's TUU, the Unholy Union. Alba Fire and Isla Dawn.
They wrestled them?
No, see, this is the problem with you trying to read my notes, is that my notes, no, they were talking shit backstage.
Hey, that was the
I didn't write backstage, yes.
Okay, that's what I was getting ready to say. No way they wrestled them. Okay, yeah. Bianca and Jade interacted with Naomi backstage, which ends up leading to a tag match. Ultimately, it doesn't matter. Bianca and Jade wins. It was basically a squash match. Nothing to really see there. That win sets them in line for Alba Fire and Isla Dawn on tomorrow night's SmackDown. Winner gets the women's tag title match. Wins the tag title.
There's 2 tag team title matches tomorrow night on SmackDown, right? It is Jaga Fatu and Tamatanga versus DIY, and this match, which is Bianca and Jade versus the Unholy Union. Zach, where you at on this?
I don't have high hopes for either of those to retain. So I think they're both. I think we're going to see 2 title changes on SmackDown tomorrow night.
It's possible. What do you think, Jason?
I don't know. I was going to say that, but I think one feels more of the slam dunk than the other. Bloodline, I think, wins. I'm not too convinced Bianca and Jade win. Team Forehead. Goddamn, Selena Vega's so fucking good.
Selena Vega called Sonya Deville's team Team Forehead.
I think they're going to interrupt this match in some form or fashion. There's at least one tag team, Damage Control, obviously coming back on Raw, being another tag team that could interject themselves. But the team that feels like that would be the ones that would jump into that match feels like it would be Sonya, Shayna, and Zoe Stark. So if both tag teams challengers win, it wouldn't be a surprise. I don't know. It feels too much of a layup.
You know what? We're going to throw both those on our predictions. I think that's good because we don't know what's going to happen, and we know that the matches are going to happen. Jason, pretend I'm whispering this in your ear, like this is still your one count.
Okay.
Next up, we have the tag team turmoil match.
So obviously the winner of this gets DIY. We kind of spoiled it. The Bloodline comes in last, so it was basically kind of giving away. Street Profits in the middle kind of carry the match, winning, I believe, once, twice, if not three times. Twice for sure, if not a third time. Each time just kind of eking by, and then obviously the Bloodline comes out and defeats the Street Profits to gain the number one title, tag team title shot. I guess not a surprise. We talked about it last week. There's still not a tag team match on the SummerSlam card, which is a bit of a surprise. I thought one or the other of these two matches that are on SmackDown for the tag titles, respectively, men's and women's, would sneak on to the SummerSlam card. Neither here nor there. I kind of feel bad for the Street Profits. That was my biggest takeaway from this, is because now they've peaked in the tag division. There's not much more they can do. I was watching them like, damn, they're the New Day. They are now the modern day New Day. This is it. As long as they stay together, this is it.
The New Day won titles.
Look,
a lot of them.
Yeah.
Look, I'm not saying that.
Listen, they got a good showing. There was never any doubt who was going to win this match.
Agreed. Now, that part I could totally understand. And
the biggest surprise of this match is that they gave Baron Corbin and Apollo Crews a shot. It's like, okay, so
they won the first match, the first time around over Legado del Fantasma. I was like, oh shit, what?
That is an odd
shocker.
That's an odd pairing.
And it's one of the misses.
Two main event talents. And I don't mean main event of the show.
Stop. It's two guys, especially with Baron Corbin's resurgence on NXT. I thought he would come back on the main roster and do some damage. Dijak, too. Obviously, Dijak is gone. Baron Corbin being paired with Apollo Crews doesn't necessarily give me much hope for him going forward. But, I mean, weirder things could happen, have happened. Shit. So, we'll see.
This seemed like a real good way to eat up a bunch of time when the entire roster wasn't there, because they made a big showing about how a big chunk of the roster was in Japan. So having this tag team turmoil match, it was still well done. It's still fun. Those turmoil matches are fun, like for television, because you want to see who's coming out next. But like I said, there was never any doubt as to who was going to win.
No,
Street Profits got some shine.
Well, they should. I mean, they're multiple tag team champions. They should get some shine. They shouldn't get
multiple. They won it twice.
Oh yeah. Oh,
they haven't done shit since they turned heel and started wearing suits. They've been in limbo ever since.
Yeah. Damn, that would have been the one. Let me see that real quick.
Up next, we had the A-Town Down Under with Terrence Crawford.
So didn't recognize that this was in, I guess, Omaha, Nebraska. That's Terrence Crawford's hometown. For those who don't know, Terrence Crawford is a professional boxer. He's arguably, pound for pound, the best boxer in the world, depending on who you listen to, neither here nor there. Terrence Crawford obviously comes out and gets a huge pop from the crowd. I was actually waiting for...
You got to know how to fight if you're a black dude in Omaha, Nebraska.
He's heating up.
I say, if you ain't got a gun, you better know how to fight. Well played. So obviously I was waiting for someone to come out to back Terrence Crawford up. It doesn't happen. Austin Theory gets pushed in front of Terrence Crawford by Grayson Waller getting knocked the fuck out, rolling out of the ring, essentially adding more fuel to the fire of an eventual Austin Theory face turn.
You ever seen the movie Inception?
I have not.
So there's a part like you've seen it, right, Zach?
Oh, yeah.
It's like a dream inside a dream inside a dream inside a dream. So there's this part in Inception where a van falls off the bridge, and the van is falling into the bridge in slow motion. And during that, all these other parts are happening. And the movie just keeps going back to the van, and it's still falling. And on Aaron and I's second date, we were watching this movie together, and it feels like the van is falling for about an hour of that movie, because we turned to each other at the same time in the movie and was like, that van is still falling? That's what Austin Theory and Grayson Waller's breakup feels like.
That's a great analogy.
It's like, oh, these guys are still breaking up.
No shit. Ultimately, I guess you got to figure out what you're going to do with each one. Right now, the U.S. title is essentially what's, in range for either or. And it depends on who wins that match, who ultimately I think wins that little feud. And then you can match them up to the champion afterwards if you want to.
I'll say this. It might be a little late in the game for me to say this, but I am not a fan of them breaking them up. I wish they would have given them a little bit more of a run as a bunch of shit heel pest.
Agreed.
Champs at most, but at least just like, guys that are in the mix.
Agreed.
What do you think, Zach?
Yeah, I think they're better together. Well, here's the thing. I think Grayson Waller's better on his own. I don't know about Austin Theory, and the way that it's shaping up, Austin Theory seems to be the babyface coming out of this, and it's not like I don't have high hopes for Austin Theory or whatever. Like, he's still young, but I was not a big proponent for them getting together. But now that they are together, I also just don't love it. And I don't love, like you said, the execution of like the breakup. It's taking an exceedingly long time. So yeah, Grayson Waller is funny because he's better in the ring, but he never needs to get in the ring because all he just needs to do is the Grayson Waller effect to get over. He's like a more talented in-ring Miz, basically.
Oh,
I mean,
damn.
He's calling it like he sees it, and
I can't say I totally disagree.
Nah, I don't disagree.
I can't say I totally disagree. Okay, fair enough. Phoebe, what's next?
What's next was the Cody sit-down.
So, obviously, Cody watching his friends getting beat down last week is stirring more emotions into Cody. He says he wants to face Solo Sikoa next week, one-on-one in the ring, and look into his eyes to see exactly what Solo Sikoa is all about. Obviously, at the end, Solo Sikoa agrees. I'm not too sure this is going to necessarily be a one-on-one the entire way. Yeah, they'll be in the ring. There will be some words said, but I would be completely stunned if this is a scenario where Cody is not fighting someone by the end of the segment.
Zach?
Classic babyface beatdown on Friday because he's winning on Sunday.
Yep.
Spoiler alert. Not a prediction. It's a spoiler.
Yeah, I didn't watch this very closely because I knew that he was out of town. It's like, well, they got to put him on the show somehow, so he's not going to break any.
But
yeah, I'm sure.
It was fine.
Yeah.
I was going to say, it did what it needed to do. Not saying it needs much. You have the specter of the bloodline, past and present, over Cody. So, I mean, that's going to carry the match. I think the match should still be good. What's next?
Andrade Carmelo Hayes.
So, weirdly, Andrade backstage gets confronted by Carmelo after Carmelo's lost the week before. Carmelo's not ready to accept said loss. He's ready to run it back. There was a couple of LeBron references, neither here nor there, that I had to chuckle about both of them being said by both guys. But it looks like next week, tomorrow night, I would assume we're going to run back Andrade and Carmelo Hayes.
Bronny catching shrapnel, man.
Why?
Because he said you're more like Bronny than you are LeBron.
No, I'm just saying, why that man catches shrapnel?
Yeah, I know. He's an 18-year-old kid. He's 19. Fucking Jesus.
Let that man live.
No
Damn.
shit.
I guess ultimately I wish I knew where this was going because it doesn't give me more pause for the cause for Carmelo Hayes. But, I mean, he's got to win on Friday, and then you have this rubber match. whoever wins, looks a little better. But then you got to make that decision. I just wish Carmelo Hayes would get built up more. Andrade kind of has a little cachet, nothing too crazy. He's never been a world champion, but he's a nice mid-card guy. Let's build Carmelo up before we start having him take losses that he might not have to take.
What you think, Zach?
Yeah, I mean, we see this with weekly television where, guys are just, like, especially the mid-card, that just have a lot of matches kind of back and forth. I mean, Andrade at this point, putting Carmelo over, probably better as best case scenario for me, and maybe elevate Carmelo to that U.S. title picture, just like, where Grayson Waller and Austin Theory we're just talking about with them. That's kind of where Carmelo should be on SmackDown.
I feel like I make this suggestion once every 8 months or so. This would be a perfect time to let these guys have a best-of-7 series. Like, it's a way for both guys to get over. It's a story without really having a story. You can tell a story while you're doing it. They haven't done one in WWE in a long time. I know we had this conversation last time. I feel like it was Sheamus versus Cesaro, but they might have done it since then. But it just feels like that's a easy way to give guys something to do and put a little bit of stakes on it. I want to see how it goes. I want to see if it goes 2-0, 2-1, 3-0. Let's see how you guys book it.
Winner gets a U.S. title shot.
Yeah, okay.
There you go.
Yeah.
Stakes on it.
All right.
It's been a while. I don't remember the last time.
I mean, that's better than this.
It just feels like we're doing it to give Carmelo the win back, and that feels like
50-50
booking, and that's a Vince trademark, and I don't want to see Vince trademarks.
Keep everybody strong.
Yeah, that's about to say. I get it, but this ain't the. I don't want to see that. If you want to build Andrade, then just do it. Move him away from Carmelo Hayes. There's room at the top of the card. I mean, it's not going to lie, but there is some room. You could do it. Let Carmelo, cook in the mid-card for a little bit. Andrade ain't got to be fucking around with that, at least in my opinion.
Meechin and Bailey and Stratton and Nix.
So, obviously, we had a previous backstage promo with Tiffany Stratton and Nia Jax talking amongst themselves, basically Nia reinforcing, let's not cash in before I get my hands on Bailey. We're going to get you a new briefcase, which I think is going to be something of a more of a Tiffany Stratton-esque briefcase. At least that's my hope. If she keeps up the beat-up briefcase, that's cool, too. We see motherfuckers, I can't remember who it was that had it basically hanging on for dear life at one point because he kept beating motherfuckers with it. But, I mean, it was basically hanging on. You had Damian Sandow with the leather briefcase. So, I mean, there's ways to
Damian Sandow.
Yeah, there's ways to go around it if you want to, jazz up the Money in the Bank briefcase for Tiffany Stratton. The physical match itself, the heels go over as Tiffany Stratton hits Bailey with the banged-up briefcase. Nia hits her finisher for the win. I don't know. I'm not going to give the prediction just yet. Bailey's title run has been, I'll use the word lackluster. I'll go with that. After we told her a big story. She got the big win at WrestleMania, and it's just basically kind of been treading water ever since. And I don't know if that's the best use for Bailey. I mean, there's plenty of talent around. I mean,
interesting that you said treading water, because it's tough to tread water when you got Nia Jax as an anchor. Am I right?
Wow.
But it's just smart booking to have the Money in the Bank winner team up with the challenger, heel challenger, because then you got a dynamic. Okay, are you going to cash in on me? Stuff like that. So, I'm interested to see what happens for sure.
I'm not saying I'm not interested. Just I thought Bailey would have more of a title run, even if it's just throwing, somebody in her way to, an open challenge. Bailey comes out and gives an open challenge, stuff like that. That's what I expected more from this. This just feels like Triple H is kind of living off of the WrestleMania moment, and now we're just getting to the point where we're doing the Nia Bailey build.
Zach, what'd you think?
She's had just nothing as far as programming. It's really not her fault. Like her and Nia Jax and the Nia thing has been an anchor. They just haven't done anything with her.
Solo was last.
And that, well, talked about it, obviously. Solo accepts, and then another Roman Reigns call out if he dares to come to SummerSlam. He's going to acknowledge his tribal chief. Like I said, for me, I don't want to see Roman until, at the bare minimum, Survivor Series. If you want to bring him out at the Royal Rumble, even better, because he could be one of 30 guys. There's going to be, open spots that, are surprises. Roman Reigns at the Rumble coming back for the first time right before WrestleMania season. That works too. But, yeah, I agree with you guys. It feels like Jimmy feels the guy that's going to make his return. That would make most sense. Hikuleu is the question mark. If he does, which side does he fall on? Because obviously the infamous Tonga Loa is running around here with the one eye now. Not sure if that is kayfabe style or not. But
no, they're trying to give him an out. It's like that's why he missed that low blow, because his depth perception was all fucked up.
That's great. But I could see if they really wanted to push the infamous Tonga Loa out, Hikuleu sliding in that spot. I can see Hikuleu being the surprise to help out Cody Rhodes post match after a Cody Rhodes victory. I think we all agree upon that.
I tell you what, the bloodline looks a lot better with Hikuleu if you replace Tonga Loa with Hikuleu.
I'm not saying it don't.
Zach, what do you think?
Oh, indeed. For sure. I'm with you on all of that.
What are the chances? We got predictions later, but I got put this out there now. What are the chances that Roman returns at SummerSlam and acknowledges Solo Sikoa as his tribal chief? That would be like Hogan being the third man. God, that place would pop so big for Roman Reigns if he came down and put the thing on Solo Sikoa. Oh, my God.
Christ.
Nuclear heat.
Right?
Nuclear heat.
Yeah. They would be, I think they would be mad. I think there would be, actual angst.
Yes, I think they would be mad also.
They should shut thrown in the ring.
I don't think they're going to do it because, you don't want to waste that Roman pop.
No.
And he has genuine goodwill with the fans. I'm just saying, if you were making a case for Solo, and I don't think anybody here is picking Solo, but if you were making a case for Solo, that would be the case to make. It's either that or Roman doesn't show up, and I can't see. I know I said the opposite last week, but I'm changing. I'm John carrying this. I am flip-flopping, and I think that there's no way that Roman misses SummerSlam. Second biggest event of the year. Just can't see it happening.
I'll wait for predictions to delve into that more.
Fair enough. Raw opens up
with
Rollins, McIntyre, and Punk.
Okay, so obviously Seth Rollins being the guest referee for the CM Punk Drew McIntyre match caused them both out to the ring to lay down the ground rules, which basically sounds like there are not going to be any rules. So that works for me. I mean, to me, it's gotten to that point where this match is, if it's not a blood feud, it's coming close to a blood feud. There's not a true stip on the match, which to me is essentially the stip. I guess you could say that, at least for me, Punk and Seth really still have some friction. You could see, at least for me, Drew trying to warm over Seth, but Seth not really feeling it. But ultimately, I think if it came to just in kayfabe style, I think Seth, even though he doesn't like either or, he actually respects Drew more so versus hating Punk, if that makes sense. His hatred for Punk is so that he would align himself with Drew. And I've said it last week, and I'm going to stick to it. Somehow, some way, Seth cost Punk this match. It's been a lot of L's for Drew. You can, like I said, I'll put that out there right now. That's going to be my prediction for that match. Drew wins this match because Seth Rollins is going to make it happen. Actions have consequences.
Zach, what do you think?
Yeah, this build has been the best WWE build this year. It's great. Drew McIntyre is doing the best work of his career. He's doing some of the best work in pro wrestling. Just really, really good shit. I mean, even eclipsing like the Seth stuff, like, you know, Seth's out there dressed like Little Debbie. You know, it's a good thing Keith Lee's not WWE anymore. Try to scrumptious him up. Just I mean, this is a good segment. This is the match I'm most looking forward to. Yeah.
Oh my God.
Yeah. Is there a chance that this opens the pay-per-view? I mean, I think
so, because
I think
it's
it'll
the
be
hottest match on there. So
I could also see Logan and LA Knight opening it up.
Either or. I mean, I wouldn't have a problem with Punk and Drew opening this bad boy up. If it's not, it's got to be somewhere in the middle then. For me, because it's got to be somewhere where it's featured.
It's the only match not for a belt. SummerSlam is 7 singles matches.
Weird.
That is weird. But it's the only match that's not for a belt is Punk and McIntyre.
Shit, I want to that.
Up next, we had Alpha Academy versus the Creeds.
So, obviously, Alpha Academy being Otis and Tozawa finally meeting the Creeds in the ring. The Free Otis shirt just came out a little too late, but neither here nor there. Fairly entertaining match. I like Otis in ring. Love the Creeds. Creeds actually take the W. Post-match, they are getting ready to start to beat down the Creeds. Then obviously you have the Wyatt Six coming in to make the save again. Really the first time we've seen some of the Wyatt Six in ring. Okay, I mean, this is what I'm saying. I get this. This made me have a visceral, just mad reaction because now I see what they're trying to do, but they've kind of gaffed it up to this point. If they're going to be a babyface faction, then why did they destroy everything when they first got here? Stick to the fucking script.
I bet The Rock came in and said, let's change it. Let's change it on the fly.
You can't blame my boy for everything. Shit. He bowed out on the Cody sword.
What do you think, Zach?
It was all the Wyatt crybabies.
Right. Yeah, right.
Stop.
Like, this is whatever. Like, I don't like the whole thing, like, where the Creeds were, like, legitimately, like, big, badass dudes. Like, I've watched them do, like, deadlifts and then, like, throw shit away. Like, throw, like, the multi-100-pound barbell away just to do, like, a backflip before they pick it up and do another deadlift, like, over their head. And then Nikki Cross comes in and they're, like, fucking scared of her. Like, yeah, she doesn't have, like, a knife or anything. Like, you know, like, but, like, you should not be scared.
Where's Ivy now?
You know, this Scottish lass.
This is not what I wanted for the Gable and Creed's faction.
At all.
Like, you can have... I want it to be Team Angle. I want it to be the front man can be the whiny little bitch heel who's fantastic in the ring, but the other two guys are no-nonsense, like, real... quote unquote athletes. Yeah.
They're the muscle.
But they're like amateur guys, you know. They have like I picture Charlie Haas walking out with like the headgear.
Right.
You know? So like, man, they should give one of the Creeds a headgear. Because I can't tell them motherfucker apart.
Jesus. He acts like they're the Bucks, for Christ's sake. Come on.
But yeah, I mean,
one of them bark.
The Wyatt's part of it is just yeah. You know, we always got here with Bray, too. It's just kind of baffling. It's like, wait a minute. Like, this is like, there's so much potential and you guys aren't even getting close to it. I don't know what the answer is, though, either. That's the thing. Like, maybe it is all just potential. I hate to say that.
And for me, if they just need to
because Bray did a lot of good shit, too. Bray was not all just potential. I'm saying that there was a lot of stuff that Bray did that also fell kind of flat.
Not disagree with it. I don't know. I wish they would just stick to them being heels. Ultimately, that's my point with it.
Yeah, if the crowd wants to cheer them, then they cheer them.
That's fine. But let them cheer them as they destroy everybody versus, obviously, making the save in the ring, but then on the, the front end, they're talking about, people, abandoning them and forgetting about them.
They should not be a force for good.
No, at all. They should be the complete fucking opposite.
They shouldn't be Bruce
chaos.
Willis and Unbreakable. They should be James McAvoy and Split. You know what I mean?
No doubt about it.
I do not.
Oh, Split's the shit. You should watch Split. Split's a fucking jam, dude.
Yeah. What's next?
Up next was Sheamus versus Bronson Reed. Pete Dunne gets involved.
So, obviously, we have actually a match between Sheamus and Bronson Reed. Actually, two meaty men slapping meat. I was enjoying the match. Pete Dunne comes out, gets involved, obviously, to help Bronson Reed to get the win.
Is this getting added to the SummerSlam card at all?
Not to my knowledge, no.
Pre-show, maybe?
I think the pre-show is 3 hours long. I'm not even exaggerating.
I mean, a lot of that is Sam Roberts and Peter Rosenberg talking in kayfabe.
Yeah, I was going to say, I'm not totally too
There's
worried
like 2
about
matches.
that.
There's like a Sunday Night Heat in the middle of it.
I like, Pete, I like Pete Dunne bouncing around between Raw and NXT, causing trouble on both sides. I just need to see a payoff on one side or the other. Don't necessarily see him beating Trick. I'm not sure if he comes out on top between himself, Bronson Reed, and Sheamus. I don't want him to be used as fodder. Pete Dunne is the guy that, was running roughshod on the NXT UK side before a guy named Walter came around and, they had 2 amazing matches. So let's not forget how really good Pete Dunne can be if given the ball.
That Pete Dunne-Tyler Bate match was like the first NXT that we covered as on Bam from Ringside. I'm pretty sure. And I remember that being a finalist for the match of the year in the very first Beefers. So, yeah, Pete Dunne's the shit.
It definitely was.
Yeah.
You guys know why AEW, or why the SummerSlam pre-show is 3 hours long this year?
Why?
Because AEW moved Collision. It's going to be on at like 5 p.m., so they're like, we'll just make it another hour. Like they counter-programmed AEW with another hour of pre-show. It's very funny.
Yeah, I love it. Let's do this shit.
No, man, just let them niggas
bring in
live,
Shane.
Man.
No, man.
Longer, like a 3 hour pre-show. The first SummerSlam was less than 3 hours. The entire pay-per-view.
I'll tell you what. If they get Shane, and we can talk about it in AEW, but if they get Shane, that shit could get really messy, and I'm here for it.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Now, if you want, never mind. I'll hold that thought. What was next?
Up next was Jay versus Carlito.
So Carlito, in his infinite wisdom, trying to get back at Sammy and Jay for last week, tried to go to make a match for Dominic and Dominic and Jay. So, but flipping the script, Dominic's not going because Rhea said so. So now Carlito has to go out and get taken care of by Jey Uso. This match was what it was. I'm not sure exactly what we're doing with Jey Uso. I don't think you have to do anything with Jey Uso at this point. You can just kind of wait till this other Bloodline episode figures itself out on the SmackDown side. But Jey Uso getting the win, not a huge surprise. I will say, that if I haven't said it, Carlito being the new JD McDonough for Judgment Day is working very well. He's not even he's basically the little brother of Judgment Day, and every time he gets a chance to say something funny or do something funny, he nails it. He's not going to win, and I'm not expecting him to win.
Carlito's a professional wrestler, and he's out there plying his trade.
Very much so, and doing it well. He's making Judgment Day funny in spots where
he is there to be kind of funny and there to take L's.
Yep.
What do you think, Zach?
Yeah, all these matches on Raw were this was not a wrestling show. This was a entertainment show. It's like they only did matches because they felt like they needed to do them, but they were all like a minute or two of wrestling, commercial break, finish. And like, I'm fine with like the SummerSlam angles were very good, but like,
everything else,
every single wrestling thing was just an afterthought.
Yep. Go home show. Zelina Vega calls Sonya Deville, Shayna Baszler, and Zoe Stark, Team Forehead.
God damn. Okay, now, I'm not sure. Obviously, she paid the price for it after the fact when Team Forehead, when it attacked the injured arm.
They're never shaking that.
No. Hell no. They're going to be Team Forehead for a hot minute as far as I'm concerned. You better come up with
fucking buried them with that, man.
Say, you better come up with a name
you
for
guys
them
are stuck with
real
that.
quick.
You better.
Otherwise, they're going to be Team Forehead, at least in BFR world for a while.
The Power Muff Girls.
Oh, nice.
Oh, whoa, boy!
I saw a tweet. Like I don't like. I'm on Twitter, but I saw somebody posted Mia Yim's Twitter on Reddit and just had her watching the show, and she took a picture of her TV while they were on the screen with her two fingers in the air and saying, "I acknowledge you."
Hell to the no!
But they're like her two fingers were together, and it was so good.
I'm dead right now. Those three obviously have a 6-man tag with Lyra Valkyria, Katana Chance, and Kaden Carter. I believe the heels won that.
Yeah, I didn't even write down. Oh, Damage Control came back as baby faces
and attacked them. That's what I was trying to get to.
To no reaction. The crowd did not know what to do. They're like, wait a minute, we're rooting for Damage Control now?
I'm not sure where this is going. I mean, I guess you could split it off into women's tag titles, or you could split it off to the two mid-card titles, whatever. Raw mid-card women's title. They're going to get.
When are those coming?
I get
SummerSlam? Are they going to announce it? Because, Sonya Deville, Zoe Stark, and Shayna Baszler would be a perfect team to have those first round of belts. You have Sonya Deville as the whatever it's going to be, women's U.S. title or whatever, women's Intercontinental, and then you have Shayna and Zoe as tag belt title holders. That would make sense to me. Get them over. They can get over. Any thoughts, Zach?
I mean, that sounds worthwhile to me. I'd be down.
Karrion Kross and Xavier Woods at a banger.
I'm at a loss of words for this at this point. I mean, yes, Cross gets the win, but now what? I mean, talk about an angle that has just been strung out beyond belief. This motherfucker here makes absolutely zero fucking sense. Are we waiting for Kofi? I mean, I guess we're waiting for Kofi to come back and have them. I guess that's what the tipping point. Somehow, some way, Kofi comes back. And then Xavier Woods has to make the ultimate decision between his brother and Final Testament. I said it. I'm going to just say it again. Beefers are still a ways away, but this Joker has my vote for worst angle of the year, at least on the WWE side. I mean, Bang Bang Scissor Gang pretty much has it, wrapped. This looks like Usain Bolt back in the Olympics in the past.
Just running away with it.
But right now, if we just got to single out WWE and worst angle, Final Testament.
It's just such an odd pairing.
I don't necessarily think it's an odd pairing. It's
an odd pairing.
Is it really? I mean,
Karrion Kross and the New Day? Yeah, I think it is.
That's an odd pairing. Karrion Kross and Authors of Pain kind of makes a little more sense. It's just they're so poorly booked. It's now you can't really even take them seriously. I mean, what the fuck? They lost to, Lashley and the Prophets in one of the laugher matches of WrestleMania. You can't take them seriously at this point. At least I can't.
Up next, or Zach, do you have anything?
It is funny. I don't want to talk about this terrible angle anymore. But you just put it in my head that like you have this fucking very serious like House of Black, like try to be goth and serious and dangerous, and then you got guys that come out with trombones throwing pancakes. It's the worst mismatch.
Yeah, it's terrible. Finn Balor versus Gunther.
Main event, obviously, Finn Balor through multiple backstage promos, segments with Judgment Day, gets Judgment Day to leave him by himself facing Gunther. Friction between Rhea and Finn Balor at one point. Little friction between Finn Balor and Damian Priest at one point before the match itself. I would I'll just wait for the predictions at that point. But neither here nor there. I thought this was a really good big versus little man match. Reminds me why Finn Balor was the first Universal Champion before he unfortunately got hurt. This is one of his better singles matches I've seen in a while, but no way in the world Gunther was going to lose. I think this is a referee stoppage as the real naked choke was on. Gunther continues to attack Finn post-match to bring out Damian Priest, which they fight to close out a Monday Night Raw. That's a match I was still looking forward to, Priest versus Gunther at SummerSlam. Watching their physicality is going to be one of those matches that you were already kind of looking forward to, but I think, hopefully if there's no botches or anything crazy like that, this could be one of those matches that sneakily, steals some of the thunder from other matches around it. We'll see what happens, but a match I was already looking forward to. The end of Raw, watching them beat the snot of each other just made me more interested.
Yeah, Finn Balor versus Gunther for the first time should have meant more, but alas, here we are.
Yeah, I mean, it means more in the grander picture when it comes to Judgment Day, and in that scenario, you knew who was going to win. I just wanted to see an entertaining match. Watching Finn Balor eat those chops worked for me.
Anything else to say about WWE main roster?
No, we'll save the rest for predictions.
Let's get to that 2 count.
1, 2, 3.
2 beer. What's the 2 count?
2 count. We can talk some AEW stuff. I was just Googling to see if Finn Balor ever wrestled Walter and what's the NXT UK Championship. I don't remember that, but I used to watch NXT UK and love it. So
I do not.
Might be worth revisiting.
Oh, I thought Cole said that was the first time they ever faced each other, but in a one-on-one match. But maybe I'm getting it confused with something else.
Might be. Usually I say Rampage was skippable, and I'm not going to say that it wasn't, but I will say.
Come on,
that,
man. You liked it. Just like what you like.
Royal Rampage was good. I actually texted you guys about it.
Yeah.
It's basically, Royal Rumble, but in this sense, it was shot on the same time that they did the Blood and Guts, so it was in 2 rings, so that added a little bit of a unique aspect to it. But this was super fun. There was a lot of really fun talent in there. 10 total entrants, so it was like Orange Cassidy and Claudio and Brody King and Commander. Who else is in there? Ishii, goddamn Brian Cage, The Butcher, and then my favorite, the pop of the night, Daddy Magic comes from commentary. And
he's eating
commentary. And then we had Kip Sabian, Brandon Cutler was in there for the blink of an eye, and Nick Wayne, Jeff Jarrett. We had a really big pop. But ended up with Claudio Darby Allin, and this thing actually had stakes. The winner gets a world title match at what's the name of it? It's the Arthur Ashe Stadium show. Yeah, Grand Slam. So the big show, big dynamite, big stadium show in the United States, New York, and Darby Allin won. So he has not just a TNT title match in the bag, but a goddamn world title match in the bag. So this was fun. I don't know. Did you guys watch it at all?
Wait, this was for a world title shot?
Yes, sir.
Oh, how about
at Grand Slam on September 25th.
Awesome.
So whoever the world champion is on September 25th is going to wrestle Darby Allin at Grand Slam.
Darby, you just didn't take enough time off. This is not a Chris Jericho situation where I think you need to go away for a while. I'm just saying, brother, you needed to rest. God damn, he is back full time now, ain't he? Did you watch the match on Dynamite? What the fuck? I love you, Darby.
I'll just say, just from watching it, if it was 20 guys, half of them had a legitimate chance. The other half was there for entertainment purposes. That's fine. It is what it is. For me, I just would like to have seen, more guys with a legitimate chance at fill in the blank, whomever the champion was. But, neither here nor there. I guess my biggest problem is Darby Allin getting now 2 title shots. I get it. I mean, the TNT title match, I get that. I get that. You got cardio right there. Right there. Okay, you could tease Daniel Bryan with cardio too if you wanted to. Cardio hasn't done much since he dropped the ROH title. That's my only problem.
He hasn't grabbed the brass ring?
Shit. I was saying, give me a break, man. I want to hear that bullshit. About to say, as much as that big Sonic ass ring was above that the ring at one point.
Sonic ass ring.
Cardio could have easily been the guy winning. Darby is what it is. Whoever is facing Darby is going to be a good match. We all know that, but I just wish they would have went the cardio way or somebody else.
What else happened on Rampage, Zach?
I'm not going to talk about it. It's not because it was bad, but just because it's like that's really all you really need to watch for.
Yeah.
But there was a shitload of wrestling, and not just in general, but there's a shitload. There was way more AEW and / ROH wrestling than usual too, because not only do we have a Collision, but we had a Battle of the Belts. So Collision opened with a match that on paper sounds real good. Orange Cassidy versus Johnny TV. In execution, this was the worst match I've seen with either one of these guys,
Ouch.
maybe ever.
I agree.
It was not good.
Didn't work. No chemistry.
I'm not saying I totally disagree, but I mean that's still a fairly tall statement. I'm not saying that there was chemistry there. There wasn't, and even though you knew who the winner was going to be, you just kind of expected that these two would put on a good match, especially as the curtain jerker. I mean, it doesn't help Johnny TV at all.
Calling it John Morrison's worst match, though, is kind of it's tough to do because he wrestled on a lot of Raws and SmackDowns and shit. Like he wrestled a lot. It was the worst. It was the worst Orange Cassidy match.
He wrestled with the Miz a lot.
Oh yeah, they were a tag team going into WrestleMania.
Right, damn, Miz is over there flying to Cleveland. Like, what is this PFR thing in my leg? Fuck.
They were a tag team.
But we had the Bang Bang Gang backstage with words for the patriarchy. The only reason I bring this up is because somebody told me that Juice Robinson looks like an actual Muppet, and I can't unsee it now.
He is pretty over the top.
Which is the drummer for the Muppets? That's the one he looks like.
Animal?
Yes.
Animal? Yeah, it looks like Animal. But there was a three-way tag team match, so we had Lee Moriarty and Brian Cage versus Wheeler Utah and Claudio and Top Flight with Action Games Ready in their corner as well. This was just, fun wrestling for wrestling's sake. And the only reason I bring this up is not because it really meant anything, but because it is a nice foil to whatever I said. Like with Raw, I was just watching and I'm a wrestling fan and I like watching wrestling in the ring. And they disappointed me with everything on that show. And this, where I was like, this doesn't mean anything, but it was fun to watch and I really enjoyed it. So it's kind of like different strokes for different folks. I also did not dislike the storylines on Raw. And I think that the SummerSlam is going to be maybe the best SummerSlam they've ever produced. And I'm really looking forward to this weekend specifically because of it. But you couldn't have two different kind of like top two pro wrestling companies when it comes to the product that they're putting out.
I mean, I can't argue with that. I liked the match too. Yeah, not much to say.
Yeah, it didn't mean anything. That's the thing. There's nothing to say about the match.
That's right.
I wouldn't go that far. I think, if you want to watch ROH, I think this is, a way to try to get people to watch it a little more, change the titles, get Shane Taylor Promotions, a little love, reintroduce the ROH six-man titles. I'm not even sure why we merged them, but that's another story for another time.
Jesus Christ, I can't believe that. I thought that we were done with that, and now we have two belts again.
Whatever. So, I mean, it feels like it's an attempt to get ROH, somewhat up to par. I mean, TNA is getting all this love from NXT, And NXT, for most people is, the inferior brand, the minor league brand, whatever words you want to use in the sentence. But that connection is doing, more for both sides. Poor ROH is sitting over in the corner like, the abandoned stepchild. I want some love, too. Will Smith at the end of the episode where he looks around, he's standing in the mansion by himself, kind of like, what the fuck? That shouldn't be the way.
That is the way, though. Sorry.
Yep. So, Beast Mortos versus Hologram. This is awesome. Again, like last week we had Hologram versus Arena Loco. This week he's coming in against another fantastic face, Beast Mortos. He's really getting over, at least in that Texas stadium. Hologram is really getting over.
Yeah, and the Beast Mortos just gets more and more TV time. I like this match a lot. I'm on record as what I think about the influx of luchadors into AEW. If you've never heard it before, it's not racist, so cut it out. I just don't. I just think they're, all right, I've already said it.
No, because as I was watching it, I felt more and more like I'm hearing you in my head. This match doesn't separate Hologram from anyone else. It feels like you could have plugged in Commander or anyone of that ilk. I don't want to say Ray Phoenix, but people that have that same luchador style. You could have got a reasonably facsimile of the same match. Maybe not as good, maybe a little better, depending on the opposite side. Ultimately, you get my point. Somehow, some way, TK is going to have to really differentiate Hologram from all the other luchadors. And that includes Phoenix, Penta, the whole 9 yards. He's going to have to really build him up somehow, some way.
And it has to be a sustained push.
Yes.
He's got to start. He's got to get in programs.
Yeah, the feuds of some sort. For guys that can get him over. The luchador style, check that box. Okay, we got that.
Luchador style.
But it's somehow we got to get him in a match where the odds are against him. A monster heel. We just had Lance Archer. That'd have been a good. If you want to put somebody over, Will Ospreay is over. Have Hologram beat Lance Archer. If that's the way you want to do it, go that route. That to me makes a little more sense than Lance Archer, even though he and Ospreay have history. But we can talk about that in a second.
It seems like Hologram is getting a push, though. Usually the formula for the masked wrestler is look really good, but lose, and lose repeatedly, and still look really good. So Hologram's getting a push. So in the meantime, I'm just going to enjoy those weekly matches. Thunder Rosa won a squash match. The aforementioned Lance Archer beat a bunch of guys up in the back to show how strong he was for Will Ospreay on Wednesday. There was a trios match, Premier Athletes versus the Conglomeration. Super fun. Again,
Premier Athletes, Mark.
Yeah, everybody in this match is a really good wrestler, pro wrestler, and this was just a lot of fun. And of course, Premier Athletes did not win, but it was totally fine. And Chris Jericho had a promo backstage. I noticed that his chops in that match with Suzuki were not nearly as good as Suzuki's. And I guess he had his finger broken, and it was like his pinky finger. So he was chopping him with a broken pinky finger. Basically, Suzuki had chopped him 100 times in the match, over 100 times, and made his chest bleed. And they're gonna have another match, and Chris Jericho's going to chop him 200 times. But
I'm over here shaking my head like, no. Once was good. Not really need to see this again. Hurry up, Shibata. I need Hook to come back and get in the on-deck circle. We're going to need you back here sooner than we had anticipated. I don't know. Like I said, for me, Jericho is what it is. I'm kind of been over the learning tree portion of it. I'm waiting for Hook to come back and I guess win the FTW title back. Why are they just running circles with Hook? I mean, it felt like he was going to be the next guy that was going to get a push, and now he just feels like him and Jericho are going, go in a circle again until they figure that shit out.
Yeah, we'll see. Hopefully not, but Yeah. Lance Archer, I love that he just beat the shit out of his opponent before he even got in the ring and then just decimated him. Pretty fun, creative way to do a squash match.
I miss Lance Archer.
And then the collision special, as we call it, which is a long FTR match, which is fine. Very interesting that they are basically wrestling the Maximum Male Models, just Mansoor and Mason Madden now is his name, but they're just doing the Maximum Male Models gimmick. But
Yep.
This is a fun match. Seems like that gimmick's over, even in AEW. So if they want to be a jobber tag team over there, I'm fine with it.
Yeah, I'm the same way. I'm like, man, if you guys liked that WWE creative and you felt like kept doing it, then just keep doing it. I'm cool with it. Wonder how it plays in Saudi Arabia for Mansoor, though.
I'll just say this. This is kudos both ways. It's kudos to FTR for making their opponents look good in a scenario where you knew they were going to go over, but the match was good and entertaining enough to keep my interest from start to finish. And then obviously for X&M, I just never thought that this would be something that.
And FTR did their thing at the end where they touched the tips.
Right. And that's why I was like,
I love that they did that.
Okay. I never thought that
if that's not a ringing endorsement from a team like FTR, I don't know what is.
It is. So in that scenario, it's, credit both ways. Both guys, both sets of guys got over, or one time got over, the other team got themselves over. So, AEW needs jobber tag teams. If that's the case, so be it. Knock yourselves out. But, if we got a jobber tag team, we need to build the middle because we got the top part. Hopefully this is some sort of, revolution for the tag side, but another story for another time.
I mean, MXM Collection should have, to repay the favor, they should have shaved FTR's back.
Nah, man, we passed that, dog.
And then main event was Leo Rush versus Pac. Not a super marquee match, but a match for the sickos. It was very fun, and Pac won with a brutalizer. Pac's getting a pretty decent, it's a push, but it's not a push with an immediate payoff. He's getting a lot of wins in the interim. He's going down to Mexico. He's got a international title shot at some point in the future. We'll see how when. But yeah, this was a fine main event of a show that was probably not terribly watched.
Yeah, I love watching these two guys wrestle specifically. So seeing them face off against each other was definitely fun, and I paid attention to it, and it was as good as I wanted it to be. They could have really gotten to another gear probably if they were given a little bit more time.
Yeah, I
but
would love to see them get 5 or 10 more good minutes. But no, this was serviceable for a main event. I wasn't mad by it.
For sure, definitely.
Yeah, Nigel described Leo Rush as sudden and Pac as abrupt, and I was like, holy shit. It was like poignant.
Yep.
Nigel McGuinness is legitimately one of the best color guys in all of wrestling, and I'm talking across the board.
He's my pick. We don't do an announcer of the year. We really should. He's my pick for the beefer for announcer of the year.
He's been a really good heel color commentator.
Oh, my God. I mean, just comedy.
His hatred for Brian Danielson alone is so good.
Oh, yeah.
It's like
when he stood up and shed tears whenever Mariah May and Tony Storm kissed.
That's a carny.
Great.
That is a carny through and through, man.
Oh, man. That motherfucker's
Selling
wild
it.
as hell, dude. That motherfucker's wild. I love Nigel McGuinness.
We had Battle of the Belts, Tony Storm versus Ty Valkyrie for the second time on a Battle of the Belts show. Not during this title reign, but they've done this on Battle of the Belts before. Fine match, but the reason I was glad I watched it because Tony Storm's promo afterwards, she looks very different than she did. She didn't have the white face and stuff. She just got this slick back hair ever since the betrayal, but she just gets on the mic and says, "This tramp is still the champ." And she said she should have cut my bloody head off. And the fans were into it. It was really good.
Yeah, I think that match is going to be hot at All In.
I keep saying it, man. The more and more I'm watching is the more and more I'm not convinced. And it goes against everything about wrestling that I think I've been taught. Mariah should be winning this match. The more and more we're getting closer to it.
It's 2 weeks in a row you've mentioned it. You better pick it. You better come through and pick it.
Weirder things can happen. Mariah can turn this around. There's still time. I'm not saying that there's not, but it's just, man, I don't know. It's just a weird feeling. I just can't put my finger on it. It's just weird. I can see Tony doing some crazy shit like that.
This was an eliminator match, so it was not a title match. So we had another eliminator match. So the battle for the belts,
right?
It was technically a battle for the belts because there were belts on the line, plural, but there was only one match that had belts on the line.
Exactly.
I was like, okay, now see that. Stop.
And the title changed hands.
Come on, man. Stop. Okay.
Which is actually very rare for Battle of the Belts to have a title change, so props to them for that at least.
Guys, it wasn't a title change. They crowned new champions. Neither team was a champion.
Yeah, okay.
It's a vacant title, so let's not give them credit.
We crowned new champions.
Somebody walked out with...
There aren't even belts that I wanted to see exist, but we did crown the champion.
Yes.
There was not a title change, okay? Let's be specific.
I'll always remember where I was when I read that Dustin Rhodes and the Von Erichs won the ROH triple six-man tag.
I'll tell you what, I'll skip over the Will Nightingale versus Deanna. Will Nightingale won. It wasn't anything special. But I tell you what, I'm not saying, like, go back and watch it, but, like, this match was legitimately good. Dustin Rhodes is awesome, and the Von Erichs are serviceable enough. Like, and I don't mean that in like a super pejorative way. They're good, but like Roddy and Bennett and Taven are also excellent. And this match was awesome. It was super fun. The crowd was so into it. Granted, they were in Texas, with the Von Erichs. That might have had something to do with it. But there was a moment in this match where they hit Dustin with the cowbell, and it was like for sure going to be the end of the match. And Undisputed Kingdom were going to win these titles. And Dustin kicked out, and just huge pop. And they had a really nice celebration after the Von Erichs and Dustin won these titles that they did not televise. It was just on YouTube that I saw. This was a really fun main event. Worth watching.
Yeah, I got nothing. I didn't watch it. I'm sorry.
You don't have to apologize.
I'm apologizing to the listener.
I loved the Von Erichs as a kid. Kevin, Kerry, David, the whole 9 yards. Grew up with world-class championship wrestling, so I have a emotional connection to the name.
How old are you?
Old enough to remember these guys. I don't like this version. They're too baby faced for me. And if that's going to be the case, fine, so be it. But we need to have like a real just over the top heel team to have them go against. That way you can this was a real good way. Undisputed Kingdom is a pretty good heel faction. They got enough heat to where you can kind of get behind the Von Erichs and Dustin to win the titles. I would like to think this is going to mean more down the line, but I mean, I don't know. I don't have a lot of faith in what is being done on the ROH side. Maybe maybe the Von Erichs can break through, and this is a springboard to bigger and better things. For me, this is just here's the vacant six-man titles that we should have never fucking merged to begin with. Now we did. Now we're breaking them up, so we need champions. Here you go.
Yep.
Dynamite over with MJF, as many good Dynamites do. But he cut a promo against Will Ospreay. Will Ospreay comes out, cuts a promo against him. They both, did fine. They're both really good promos. Neither one of them came close to the promo that Kyle Fletcher cut after the Will Ospreay Lance Archer match. So Lance Archer comes out, faces Will Ospreay. You know, we've seen this match before. We saw it. They were not in Texas here. They were actually
South Carolina.
But we saw this in Dallas, Texas, like first match of the G1 a few years ago. Whenever they did the G1 in Texas for like the first day of the actual G1 was actually in the United States. And they had a killer match. This was just as good. Really, really fun. They played off of that previous match. I remember the one thing I remember in that match was Ospreay and Archer, Archer, did like the Undertaker rope walk, and he did like the backflip. And this, they played off of it, and Ospreay cut him off, and then they did a Spanish fly off the top rope, which was super cool. But of course, Ospreay got the victory here. But this was a fantastic opening match. MJF comes in and destroys MJF afterwards, and he gets saved by Kyle Fletcher, who really cut a phenomenal I don't want to say I think it would be too much to say it was a star-making promo, but it was fiery. The crowd was into it. It was super babyface. It was the most character-wise that we've seen from Kyle Fletcher, and all of the stuff was very he used real life to inform it, and he said he was from Australia, but he loved the United States because it gave him his hot girlfriend, his nice car, his nice house.
Yeah, him and Ospreay worked real hard as foreigners to get the American people on their side, with MJF walking around with the fucking flag on his belt.
Pretty much.
Oh yeah, totally.
But, and the crowd was respectfully into it. I think the crowd was they were still wanting to chant USA and everything. But I was going to call it a star-making promo. I thought it was a phenomenal babyface promo. If it fell short at all, it's because he said bull crap instead of bullshit. Just say bullshit, dude. You guys say shit all the time over on AEW.
They haven't been, though. If you notice, they really cut back. I think it's a charter thing. The
Ospreay Archer match was tremendous. It's easy to say that Ospreay never has a bad match, but Lance Archer is a fucking badass, and he's a great worker. And like Zach said, they have a history, so I really enjoyed it. I'm never going to skip an Ospreay match.
I'll just say this. I agree with everything what you guys said.
I loved the hidden blade. Ospreay went for the hidden blade, and Archer hit him with a lariat that flipped Ospreay around. It was fucking awesome. The view on it was awesome too. It was really cool.
Will doing what Will does. Kyle Fletcher was interesting just because he came out, and obviously he has connections with Will Ospreay, but floating in the back, Don Callis. I ain't saying, but I'm just saying. Don't think this is just a layup where Kyle Fletcher and Will Ospreay, are buddy-buddy again. I would not be surprised if Kyle Fletcher comes back around in Wembley and somehow, some way, sticks the knife.
I thought you were saying maybe Callis joins with MJF.
And not even joins up, but there's, Don Callis is not going to
AEW's very own Heyman Punk.
Don Callis is not going to let...
the two most unlikable guys in the world.
Yeah.
If you want to go that route, post, that's fine. But I'm saying the relationship between Fletcher and Ospreay, I wouldn't be surprised, gets, manipulated to where Kyle Fletcher turns on Ospreay at Wembley to cost him that match. Now, if you want to do MJF and Don Callis going forward, knock yourself out. It wouldn't hurt me, but I just don't think MJF doesn't need it. Don Callis really doesn't need it. If anything, Kyle Fletcher needs, a little bump. And if you want to put heat on him, this is the way to do it.
Alex Marvez backstage with Jericho, Big Bill, Brian Keith. Big Bill got Jericho cake. I only bring this up because this is the second time. Very proud of both companies. I saw that Tozawa had gotten them a cake in WWE just a couple weeks ago, and the cake didn't end up in anybody's face. either time. It's amazing.
Surprise, surprise. Motherfuckers are actually being original for 30 seconds.
Subverting expectations.
Got
we
your
had
ass.
Willow Nightingale versus Chris Statlander. So this was a eliminator match for Willow's CMLL World Women's Championship. Chris Statlander ended up getting the win with a chain around her hand, so did not get it clean, but she will get a match for that title. This is something that does not, I won't say feel stale, but this has been going on for a while also. And I'm ready for it to reach its climax and be done. Whatever the resolution is, maybe Chris winning, maybe not. I don't know.
We gotta give credit to Willow Nightingale. Consider this your Willow Nightingale appreciation segment because she is on television a lot, always has quality wins, cuts a really good promo, is a good character. It makes sense that she would make friends with other baby faces backstage, and she is a full-timer who's on television all the time, and she does great work. Big Nightingale fan over here.
I agree totally.
She also fills in a lot for when a lot of her opportunities have come whenever almost incidentally, which is, great because it is not always a meritocracy, but she deserves everything she's gotten. But a lot of her opportunities have come just kind of through happenstance. And whenever TK needs to send a woman representative to another company, it's Willow a lot of times because she can get over.
And Statlander and Stokely are a good heel pair also. They work together.
Oh, my God.
It doesn't look like they'd work together on paper, but they're really good.
That was one of my big hesitations with Statlander going heel. I just didn't know how her and Stokely would work together as a unit. And the fact that it's Chris Statlander is, basically woman handling Stokely around, it's, to me, just the cherry on top.
Plus, if it's the manager's job to get the talent over, Stokely has a high batting average.
Oh, yeah, for sure. This is a person.
He had a hard time with that one. What were they called? The Firm?
Yes.
He had a hard time with that, but that wasn't his fault. He could have gotten him over.
So did Dr. Dre, to be honest.
Well played, sir. Well played.
Then we had Danielson cutting a promo, which was very funny because he's like, "Oh, we're in, whatever town in Greenville, South Carolina," and he's like, "I actually got my engagement pictures taken here." And Taz was like, "Why?"
Dude, that motherfucker's a menace, dude. I was like, "What the fuck, dude? Let that man talk."
But basically, he cuts a promo saying that, the whole thing that we've talked about before, he's going to retire. He's not going to be a full-time wrestler because his daughter's 7. His AEW contract actually ends tomorrow. And,
today.
He's going to, that day. Today. And that he is going to put his career on the line and say that he will never wrestle again. Swerve comes out, cuts a promo, against him, confident champion. So, this was good. It adds a lot of interest. I don't know what you guys think as far as telegraphing the win. I feel like there's no chance that Brian Danielson loses at this point. Brian Danielson. Go ahead.
I was going to say it's kind of weird because there's really no reason for Brian Danielson to put his career on the line in this match, which makes me think that they're going to renege on it. And I stressed renege on it. Some people say it and it sounds a little funny when they say it, you know what I mean? But
I'll say it the other way in 30 seconds. Don't worry about it.
But it's almost like Danielson's going to lose and then go full heel on his family and be like, I'm like a madman out of control now, and he has a big heel run at the end. which I got to say, that's what I'm rooting for. It's just that lays it on pretty thick to talk about a 7-year-old and to talk about how his contract is ending that day. And then in the same segment, you put your career on the line. I hesitate to think that it's as easy as this means Danielson's going over.
And the sad part about it is that Swerve's the kind of the guy that's getting lost in the shuffle. He's the one that's going to have to go out and have this, amazing match with Danielson. But it kind of feels like that's, unfortunately, Swerve's, path as the champion post Samoa Joe. It has been, he's kind of been the other guy, unfortunately. I don't know if this telegraphs it. I just wish they wouldn't have done it, ultimately. When he said it, I was watching it live, and I initially rolled my eyes. I was like, now, why are we doing this? I mean, it's basically right there. You don't have to do it. There's no reason to put a step on the table. I mean, it's basically the chips are in the middle. He basically already said that the contract's up. So, I mean, now, as a wrestling fan, you're already kind of, speculating, are they going to put the title on somebody that doesn't have a contract in theory? Or, or keep it on Swerve. So, I mean, I get it. It's more stakes. It adds more interest. I get it. I don't think it was necessary to do just for the fact that in kayfabe style and just shoot style. This was... Danielson's got one foot out the door. When he exactly leaves, nobody knows. But I don't think the step was necessary.
Who do you want to win that match?
Swerve.
What if it means What if it means it's Danielson's last match?
I don't think it means Danielson's last match.
What if it does?
Then it does.
And you still want Swerve to win?
Yes.
Zach?
I really don't care. Like, either one of them winning is totally fine. They're both
Get
like,
off the
set,
damn
like,
fist, nigga. Shit.
Dude, it's a podcast.
I'm just. This is my honest opinion. It's not offense. Like, I don't care. Like, if Danielson won, cool. If Swerve won, cool. Like, Swerve, like, you mentioned Swerve being the other guy. That's a perception thing. I don't think that's a position thing. Swerve has gone over very clean on every one of those as the other guy. Like, he's a super strong champion. He's never been presented as anything but. So, like, him losing to Danielson is not like, oh, poor Swerve in a subpar title reign. Like, Swerve's the top guy and he's a made man. And his next contract's going to be much more important than his current contract. Which, wherever company he goes to, he's going to make bank. So he's doing just fine. And Danielson's more than a made man. He's a legend. If they want to put Danielson in their history, that's cool. I really have no preference. I'll have a prediction in a couple of weeks, but I have no preference.
I say this as somebody who has Brian Danielson on his Mount Rushmore of greatest wrestlers of all time. And I say this as somebody who, really, he's one of my 2 or 3 favorite wrestlers, right? Certainly one of my 2 or 3 favorite wrestlers going. Take his health completely out of it. I still think it makes sense for Swerve to win. Like, Swerve's pretty much a made guy, but beating Danielson in Wembley would just cement him. He still kind of feels like a Damian Priest-ass champion.
Yes.
So, like, him beating Brian Danielson and retiring him, and I say that I kind of want Danielson to lose because, A, I'm worried about his health. I really am. I think he goes really hard, and I know he's really fucked up. And B, what else do we have to see from him? He said that when he came to AEW, he wanted to fight all the greatest wrestlers. He's fought Okada twice. He had the match of the century in St. Louis at Shafitz against Will Ospreay. What else are we asking for, Brian Danielson?
Page.
Huh?
Page. MJF.
Dude, him and MJF had an Iron Man match, match of the year. Like, him and Adam Page. Sorry, I just named a bunch.
They wrestled a 1-hour Broadway on Dynamite.
Yeah, they did. That's right.
Kenny Omega.
They also wrestled a 1-hour Broadway on Dynamite.
All right.
more so, this is my point.
Yeah, he's fought everybody. He's done it all. Like this was the run. This was the legendary run.
And if Danielson doesn't win the AEW championship, it doesn't hurt him one single bit.
No.
Swerve needs
talking myself into it. I think it's his last match. He's gonna get retired by another Washington guy. Swerve retires Danielson. Woo! That's nice. That's nice. He'll get that big bounce that Baron Corbin got after he retired Kurt Angle.
Yeah. My early prediction is Swerve loses at Wembley and he wins it back at Wrestle Dream the next month.
I could totally see that.
Because Wrestle Dream's in Seattle?
Sounds right.
Yep.
And I'm going to go.
Awesome.
I say that. I didn't go last year. But I'll probably be fucking broke and close to Christmas, and I got 3 fucking kids.
You came in for Dynasty, though.
I did, yeah. That was worth it. All right, trios match. Mark Briscoe, Orange Cassidy, Tomohiro Ishii. Maybe my favorite trio going right now. Fantastic. Versus Roderick Strong with Matt Taven and Mike Bennett on the outside. And then Roosh and the Beast Mortos, which is a weird trio, but also awesome. This match was awesome. Beast Mortos pinned the ROH World Champion Mark Briscoe. We were just talking about how Beast Mortos, losing a lot. He's a beast. He's a great face. He came to South Carolina, went from Texas, lost in Texas, went up to South Carolina, pinned the ROH World Champion.
Like, what the fuck?
That was pretty cool. But this match was awesome. Man, holy shit.
Party match.
Yes.
And, yeah, this is my special match here. Anything else?
No, good for Mortos. Matt Taven, Rouge, 2 other guys that I wish could have won the Royal Rumble, Rampage Rumble, whatever the fuck they call that shit. But, Darby Allin's cool.
I think it's Royal Rampage.
I don't give a shit what it is, man. Just about to say, I'm just throwing out alternate names besides Darby
I want to be clear here. All the Mortos jokes that I make is just about how many matches he gets. The guy's getting over with me. I like the Beast Mortos.
No, there's no question about it. He's good.
Don Callis kept calling him Mortis, which was a WCW wrestler in the 90s.
Now that you said that, I do remember him saying that. That's great.
There was a sit-down with Renee Paquette with Mariah May, and I only bring it up because it was real good, just because, like, Renee, after a question at Mariah May, was just like, do you not watch the television show?
Mariah May was awesome.
Like, this was pretty simple. It was really good.
Yeah.
And Renee is remarkable, as Excalibur says all the time. She's like one of the best parts of these shows. Her reactions and like she just adds a level of like realness to it. She's really good at her job.
She's Gene Okerlund.
Very much. I was going to say the connective tissue.
She really is Gene Okerlund.
AEW. She's always
like
backstage.
A less fuckable Gene Okerlund.
Yes.
That's exactly it.
But she has like a relationship. You can tell that like she has like a working relationship with all the wrestlers, and she doesn't mind calling them out on their bullshit, just like Mean Gene did.
Yes, yeah, totally. Yeah, Mean Gene was always, now you listen here, mister.
Yeah,
like, yeah, totally. Man. And then Camille won a squash match, and then Mercedes came out in her fucking 10-inch heels, just as tall as she was. You can cut a promo. And I don't know why that pisses me off so much, but I'm just like, could you just?
I was gonna say that's under your skin.
For one day,
yeah,
it is. But yeah, she got the promo on Britt Baker. I imagine Britt Baker is gonna run through Camille before she gets to Mercedes at All In. If I had to guess, or maybe Camille takes Britt out and like injures her, and she's like coming from beneath, and that's like a way. Like Moxley has done that before, like. He's come in like super injured into a match as like to make him an underdog, even though he's super strong babyface. So, what do you guys think?
Oh, I'm sorry when you said Britt beat Camille. That almost blew my head off. Camille shouldn't be losing anytime soon. Okay, if she's going to be the Diesel Deshaun or, the big to the little, whatever you want to call it, she should not be, especially this early. I mean, damn. She was been the longest rated women's champion at NWA, and she's going to come out and lose to Britt right away. No, I'm sorry. If you want to let Camille put the beat down on Britt, leading to Mercedes and Britt, fair enough.
How long has there been a women's belt in NWA?
There's still one there right now, motherfucker. Okay.
That's like Fabulous Moolah's reign whenever the fucking federation was closed for 50 years.
Okay, but here's the problem with that. The Fabulous Moolah ain't in her prime right now. Camille is in her prime. She should not be losing to Britt or anybody this soon. I'm not saying she should have a Jade Cargill run, but she shouldn't be losing her first or second match.
No argument here.
Right, and then we had, for the first time ever, Adam Page versus Darby Allin, which is surprising because, they're both been in the company since 2019, and this was awesome. This was worthy of a pay-per-view curtain jerker, totally killer. Darby's laying it out there. He jumps off of the top of the stage into a coffin drop.
He's back
onto the ring.
It's like, damn, dude, it's like 5 minutes in.
He takes a fall-away slam on the steel steps, and not on the flat part of the steel steps, but like on the edges. And that was after taking like 3 or 4 apron power bombs. But he ends up doing that fun like cradle thing that he does. It doesn't have a name. Like Wheeler Yuta has the seatbelt thing, or maybe it is the Last Supper. Yeah. He does that, the Last Supper cradle.
Whose move is that?
Hangman flips out.
That's Darby Allin's move?
The move he did on Wednesday night to finish the match.
Tell you what, he looks like he has Last Supper about 30 days ago.
Stop.
Eat a hamburger, dude.
He does have the physique of my 6-year-old nephew and the resilience.
You see him take this hard bump. Oh, you okay? Yeah, I'm good. What's up?
So good.
That was AEW.
It was. I enjoyed the fuck out of that match. Obviously, both those guys can fucking go. It is surprising, but then I was thinking, well, I bet Hangman never fought Sting either. They were just running in different circles.
Both baby faces being Sting, Darby, Sting and Page for that matter, for the run of their length of AEW. Obviously, Adam Page has his heel turn now. So, I mean, for this scenario, it sounds surprising because you just think that those two paths would cross, Darby and Adam Page, but they haven't. It was a good match.
Also, to be fair, Darby was not on Page's level. Like, Page came in as a main event guy. Like, he's been a main event guy his entire run.
Yeah, I mean, that's a good point.
No, completely fair.
Well, there's one more thing about AEW we got to talk about, which is this leaked photo of Shane McMahon and Tony Khan having some sort of conversation in an airport, allegedly taken by Mercedes Moné. Do we see? Let's just.
God damn, girl, shit.
Let's just They leaked this for a reason. Let's address the most immediate concern, like I say at my job all the time. Let's address the most immediate concern. Does Shane McMahon show up on AEW television or pay-per-view? Jason.
If it were to happen, I don't want him to be an in-ring performer. Either be like the Bucks, manager or whatever.
The Bucks, you'd put him with the Bucks.
Yeah, I would want him to be. It would be weird for AEW fans to cheer Shane McMahon. Let's lean into the fact that he's still a McMahon. Put him with the most heelish motherfuckers that you got. In this case, it would be the Elite. If you don't want him have him on screen, to me, behind the scenes is probably where his best suit would be.
So you just said what you would want or not want to happen. What do you think is going to happen? Do you think Shane is going to show up?
Yeah, but just not on. I don't think he's going to be an on-screen personality. I think some way he joins AEW, but it will be behind the scenes. He'll be Tony's consigliere, if you will.
Oh, that would be
the worst fucking thing imaginable.
What do you think's going to happen?
I think he's definitely showing up, and he's only an on-screen. You think Tony Khan's gonna give any kind of actual authority to any McMahon?
No. I'm not saying he has authority. I'm saying, hey Tony, you should do this. Hey Tony, you should do that. No, I'm saying, in talks we don't see.
He shows up on television, no doubt. He is an on-screen character.
Yeah.
I guess when I say on-screen performer, I don't want to see him in the ring. If he's aligned with the Bucks and you have him, in some storyline form where he's with the Bucks and the Elite, okay, fair. I'm with that.
I watch him in Blood and Guts. I watch him in Anarchy in the Arena.
Nah, man. Nah.
I don't know.
No.
Dude, that's way better than him having actual ideas. He's a paycheck guy. He gets his paycheck to show up on TV and pop a rating, and that's it. I don't know. You don't give him any insight into your actual company.
There is one way to do this, and is bring Shane McMahon. If you're going to bring Shane McMahon in, you have to get dirty. You got to get your hands dirty. You got to make Vince jokes. You got to have him be with the patriarchy. I don't know, but you got to do something that would just, I just don't know if I want it.
It would definitely not lead any credence to the fact of AEW is concerned with WWE. If you lean that route, it would only just add fuel to that fire. AEW is doing fine. I would like to see other things, but ultimately 5 years in, they're doing fine. If they get this another contract, that'll be even better. They're needed. Okay.
All right.
I'll just say this. Maybe Shane isn't going to be in Tony's ear, and Tony is the end-all to be-all. That's fine. There's no reason in the world to have Shane in matches. They're just not.
He's too brittle.
Okay. I don't want to see Shane, trying to do
Huffing
something.
and puffing.
Anarchy in the Arena is a great AEW concept. I don't want to see Shane in it because, God forbid, if he gets hurt again,
man, I'd watch
you're going to
it,
have
though.
to drag. You ain't got to drag that dude around for another 20
just for
minutes.
those punches. God, he's got great work punches.
They could book him as the best pure striker in the business.
Oh man, he was the best in the world.
Let's get to that 3 count.
Had that poor announcer, screaming his head off.
All right, so we're gonna do the 3 count like we did the 3 count, or like we did the G1 last week. We have 4 nights of matches to start with, so I'm gonna do it the same way. I'm gonna start at the top of the block and go down. So we're gonna start with Block A. Evil sits atop Block A with 10 points. He has not lost yet. Evil has had matches against Naito, and he's had a match against Callum Newman. Zach, what did you think about Evil's 2 matches?
I mean, the Callum Newman and what was the other one that he had?
Naito.
Yes. Yeah. The Naito match was was not a bad match. It was actually one of the better Naito matches. Naito's just looking rough. But that match was fine. It's amazing to me that he is undefeated. Just amazing. Man, when are we going to wake up from this evil nightmare? He's been pushed for 5 years.
He's got to be. I think I picked him, but maybe he loses every single match here on out. I don't know. Maybe he runs the fucking table. What do you think, Jason?
Obviously, him being Naito did get a visceral reaction. I'll let you fill in the blank of how you think I reacted. It's not a huge surprise. I said him or Red Narita would get the House of Torture push. Obviously, that's happening with Evil. Undefeated it irks me just because it's Evil, but ultimately it's not a huge surprise.
They're spitting in our face.
Not really. I mean, they've said that they've shown this before. This is the Evil / House of Torture hand. So I'm not going to be mad about something that I already know is in play. Like I said, for me, what I really got mad is when finally LIJ comes to the aid of Naito, even though it's just Bushi, he still loses the match. I'm just like, okay, see, this
The shenanigans are not crazy, though. Like, he's won all of his matches. At least, like, the end of the matches come relatively clean.
That's what I was going to say.
Evil's been okay, but okay Evil is not enough for me to want him to have 10 points right now. Zack Sabre Jr. is next with 8 points. He beat Jake Lee, and he lost to Shota Umino. Jason, you can go first here. What do you think about Zach?
Not surprised about Shota Umino. I think that it keeps Shota in play, and it gets a win over ZSJ. Not the worst thing in the world, but in the sense of you having Evil running the table in that scenario, it kind of stings a little bit. I thought he and Jake Lee was one of the better Jake Lee matches that we've seen in a while, and I think at least for me, and I know Brett and I talked about this, Brett Jager and I talked about this on personally. He doesn't see, the things that I see in Jake Lee. For me, that Zack Sabre Jr. match, even though he lost that match, I thought was one of the bright, shining spots of him so far, him being Jake Lee. So ultimately, ZSJ is in a good spot. He's second, but to me, it's just seeing Evil above him. It just kind of irks me a little bit. That's all. I mean, ZSJ will be fine. He'll obviously advance, but he does what he does. The Shota's match was a little bit of a surprise.
Zach, what do you think?
Yeah, I mean, I feel like Zach could carry me to a good match, so I don't really speak too much of
I'd watch
Jake Lee. Just watch him twist me up.
Yeah, I was going to say, watch my boy get twisted up.
Big dong on my face.
Yeah. Every 6 seconds.
Yeah, just change it up.
Yeah, just putting his Rene Dupree on your forehead.
Exactly. Just like 1,001 ways to teabag the fucking Mark. But Shooter getting the win. Shooter has not had a super great tournament just because he's really working injured. Like, you can tell it's really slowing him down. Like, he's not having a great showing. I'm sure it's not the showing that he wants. But that was a nice win, upset win. Sets up something for, a future match. But Zach's still having a great tournament. He is pushed as, like, the best tournament wrestler in New Japan, and he's still looking real good.
Yeah, I was kind of shocked by the Shota finish. I did not expect Zach to lose that, but what can I say? He's my favorite wrestler. Gabe Kidd we'll go to Shota here. So Shota has 6 points. Shota beat ZSJ and he beat Great O'Khan. Where you at on that, Zach? Or him and Great O'Khan, I guess.
Yeah, that was one that was just kind of there. There's some like match stuff that was okay, but the ZSJ win was an upset. The Great O'Khan win was not really.
Jason?
I like the Great O'Khan Shota match. It was to me more about Great O'Khan. I was watching him, kind of tying Shota Umino up, and I was like, this is somebody that can, be in the line of ZSJ, a great technical wrestler. Just the booking just doesn't match the ability or whatever the case may be. Not surprised that Shota beat Great O'Khan. Like I said, a bit of surprise that Shota beat ZSJ, but I think that's ultimately the booking of it all. I don't necessarily think that Shota is hurt, but I agree with Three Beer in the sense that there's something that's a little off, if that makes sense.
Gabe, I like the Great O'Khan Shota match also. Gabe Kidd is up next with 6 points. Gabe Kidd lost to Sanado. Oh my God, that's a huge ass bug just dropped on me. And
Put some respect on that man's name.
Jesus Christ. And Gabe Kidd, Reba's scared of the bug. And Gabe Kidd beat Shingo in a fucking certified banger. What'd you think, Jason?
Beating Shingo is a deal. Even though he's a pandemic champion, he is a former IWGP champion. So fingers crossed that is signs of something bigger to come for Gabe Kidd. I think Gabe Kidd has been one of my favorite guys just throughout the tournament on either side of the block. Watching fans react to him in a way that you usually don't see heels reacted to favorably. He came out on commentary, what was that, for the last show, 731, and he walked out to the ring. You know, he gets this huge pop. I'm just like, Jesus Christ, Gabe Kidd's over. So, I mean, yeah, Gabe Kidd is great in the ring, great outside of the ring, good on commentary. He's the package.
Yeah, he's something else on commentary, man. He's really funny.
No, he was really good.
Look at him trying to be like me.
He was really good. He's ready to fight everybody. Fuck this shit.
That's a terrible accent. So Shingo, the aforementioned, had that great match with Gabe Kidd, but he lost, and he, let me see here, he also lost to Callum Newman to open up the first night that we're talking about. I was surprised, and I also really enjoyed this match. There was a bunch of callbacks to the Ospreay stuff. We have to remember about Callum Newman that he is like 21 years old or something like that. He is learning on the job, and I thought that this match was really fun. Zach.
Yeah, totally. He really is going to be. You know, we think about the Yoda Sujis. We talk about them, and the Yu Yoramuras. You know, he's in that category. He's going to be a big deal, and just the fact that he's in here is awesome. And he's really putting out great quality matches. I've enjoyed every single one of his matches.
Do you like it, Jason?
Yeah, the finish was just, as soon as he took that pump and bomber, I was like, okay, this thing's over. I'm raising up to grab the remote, and the next thing you know, I'm seeing him flying off for the Oscar. I'm like, what the fuck is this? And he hits it. I'm like, okay, yeah, there's no way he's gonna. What he fucking what? It was just the range of emotions where I knew that this match was over, and then he flipped. He just basically just flips out of it and has this amazing win. He's good. He's good. He feels like he's just. Kyle Fletcher is the closest thing to Will Ospreay, quote unquote. And then, like 2 steps behind, you have Callum Newman. They're all in that same Will Ospreay tree or whatever the case may be, built the same athletic, base or whatever the case may be. Callum Newman is on his way. This was a really good match. He's had a really good tournament.
Yeah, and his other match was against Evil, which he lost, which we already talked about. Up next, we have Naito. Naito lost to Evil, and Naito beat Sonata. What you think, Jason?
Yeah.
How's your boy?
I was watching these 2 matches, and I was thinking, the beefer just popped in my head. Naito winning / losing the IWGP title, worst title change of the year. This is a shell of a champion. I'm not even sure what kind of story you can tell at this point, except for the fact that he doesn't make the quarterfinals. And at this point, I don't necessarily want him to see it. There's no reason for him to make the quarterfinals. There's just not. He's not having good matches. It's just. It doesn't make sense for this to drag along if we don't absolutely have to do it. Sonata and him were okay. He and Evil were good for him and Evil. I was, like I said, surprised with the finish because it was a relatively clean finish. I was like, what the fuck is this? So now you got the champion just losing left and right, and even though he's the champion, all of it just was, ugh.
Zach?
Neither one of these were the best matches I've seen with either one of the participants. Naito is, like I said, looking rough. It's a bummer.
Yeah, and we've already talked about Sonata's 2 matches. We've already talked about Callum Newman's 2 matches. Great-O-Khan's second match. We talked about Shota and him, and did we talk about him versus Jake Lee? What'd you think about this, Jason?
I thought this was serviceable. Not great, not bad, somewhere in the gray. I just think Jake Lee's just getting the bad rap. In this scenario, I expected a little more. I wanted to go it a little longer, but Great-O-Khan, it's at least I'll say this much. From last week to this week, I see what you guys were talking about. He's having good matches. He's just not getting dubs.
Zach?
Yeah, like serviceable, like Jake Lee's Applebee's, like Sonata's P.F. Chang's. That's not an Asian joke. It's just a P.F. Chang's, just better. I was just thinking chain restaurant.
That's okay. You're fine. Wait, which one did you say was P.F. Chang's and which one was Applebee's?
Sonata was P.F. Chang's and Jake Lee was
okay.
Applebee's.
All right. I got you. And so we talked about Jake. I think Great O'Con's getting ready to go for a run. Jake Lee, these were not.
Him and Brodus Clay.
Yeah, that's right. We can move on to the B block, which is all knotted up with 6 people with 6 points. We'll start at the top here. David Finlay has 6 points, and let me see here. He beat Ren Narita, and then he beat Takeshita in the main event this morning. Jason, what do you think?
Well, this is kind of the David Finlay run I've been kind of waiting to see after a slow start. Beating Takeshita was a little bit of a surprise, but I am a Takeshita mark, so I shouldn't be too surprised. David Finlay is a New Japan champion, but I thought that the match was really solid. I forgot the other match that you said beforehand.
Narita.
Bullet Club versus Bullet Club. You know what you got out of that. So, I mean, it's a shit ton of fuckery. If you like it, you like it. If you don't, this is a hard match to kind of get through. But that Takeshita David Finlay match made up for it in spades.
Yeah, that was the match of these 4 nights was David Finlay and Takeshita. I love the thing where Finlay kept kicking out at 2, and Takeshita would just lay a big fucking elbow into his face and try to pin him again. Yeah, man, that was a hard-hitting match. Takeshita is, to use the Jason phrase, that dude. Zach, you didn't get a chance to watch that one, did you?
No, Takeshita is the best guy in the tournament, though.
Yes.
He's having the best matches with everybody.
He is, 100%.
Yeah.
And we still got him and Gabe Kidd to go, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So up next we have Takeshita, who had that match against Finlay, and he also had the match against Hanare in another heavy-hitting match. Zach, what did you think about that match?
Oh, man. Absolutely awesome. Just Takeshita is, he can work with anybody, and, Hanare is a hard-hitting dude, and Takeshita can hit hard, too. Yeah, this is great.
Jason?
More about Hanare than Takeshita for me than anything else. You know what you're getting with Takeshita. Hanare is someone that's kind of, morphed and grown into something that before our eyes that, you could put into Takeshita and, he might lose this match, but he damn sure made that motherfucker entertaining. Yeah, that was one of them undercover matches that, if you weren't looking forward to it, you got invested, or you should have been invested to it. That was one of the hard-hitting matches of the tournament. Yeah,
I agree that Takeshita is the guy. He's having the best tournament. Hanare also has 6 points, and Hanare, besides losing to Takeshita, went out this morning and beat Yuya Uemura in a pretty good match. Didn't last very long. It didn't feel like it lasted very long, at least. But Hanare goes over, so he's got 6 points too. Where are you at on Hanare, Jason?
Hanare's, I shouldn't say a surprise, but considering everybody is all jacked up with 6 points at the top of the block, it's good to see that Hanare is one of those people. It went 15-33, Hanare versus Uemura. Uemura obviously coming out hot. No, that's why as I was watching it, I was like, this could be the future of New Japan if they play their cards right. But obviously, both guys will have to be elevated, in some form or fashion. But no, this was one of those good matches, man. Just snuck in there. Next thing you know, I'm like, oh shit, these motherfuckers beating the shit out of each other.
Ren Narita has 6 points. He lost to Finlay, but he beat Goto last night. Listen, just not into Ren Narita matches. I feel like I got a bad taste in my mouth with the House of Torture bullshit, and just have kind of been checked out on him. Do you disagree, Zach?
No, some of his matches have been okay, but it really is, you're just kind of waiting for the inevitable. So, I'm with you on the House of Torture stuff. I hate it. But it is a bummer. I was really bummed when he entered into that faction because I was like, fuck, there goes, it's like same thing with Show. These are fantastic wrestlers that are not relying on wrestling at all.
Yeah, Jason?
I gotta agree with Zach. I like him, but inevitably, it's going to happen. If it's not Yujiro or Kanemaru, it's the reinforced push-up bar, whatever the case may be. So the fuckery is coming. The match, his individual matches up to the fuckery are good. They're entertaining. He can work. We all can agree upon that. It's just then you just know the fuckery's coming. I guess it's just I don't like House of Torture fuckery. Bloodline fuckery, is kind of the same thing. But for me, there's a story behind them, and I'm invested in them. I'm just not invested in House of Torture, if that makes sense.
Yeah, that makes sense. Sorry, I lost the page. Bear with me. Jeff Cobb sitting at 6 points. Jeff Cobb beat Yuya Uemura and beat ELP this morning. Jason, where you at on Jeff Cobb?
About damn time. I mean, shit, Jeff Cobb is one of those guys.
I mean, you keep saying this about all these guys, but they all have 6 points.
Jeff Cobb should be at least, separate from others at this point. 8 points, whatever the case may be. He's just now won back-to-back matches. For me, it's not even about damn time for Jeff Cobb in the G1, but about damn time that Jeff Cobb gets some love overall. One of the guys that you could easily have as the global heavyweight champion, IWGP champion, and nobody would blink. It just hasn't worked.
Where you at, Zach?
Yeah, Jeff Cobb is having really solid matches. Some of the most memorable in that block, and I do like the overall story of it's anybody's. It's the exact opposite of the other block, so I like how it's kind of like anybody's ball game here. It's a fun story to tell in a tournament.
Yeah, and the B block is definitely more fun to watch, and it's more fun to talk about. Jeff Cobb rules. I love the match with him and ELP. I also love the match with him and Yuya. Like, fuck yeah. Give me Jeff Cobb all the time. Speaking of Uemura, he had that Jeff Cobb match, and we already talked about the other one where he lost to Hanare also. Yuya might have had just those big 3 matches right out of the gate, and that might have been the tournament for him. I don't know if he's gonna make the quarters. What do you think, Jason?
No, I think he's gonna sneak in the quarters, especially now you have that third spot open. This would be a good time to get Yuya Uemura over, at least in that sense. Hikuleu made the quarterfinals, for Christ's sake. Uemura can't make the quarterfinals. Fuck that. He's gonna get into the quarters. I don't give a shit what anybody says.
Zach?
I think he's gonna have a strong finish.
Damn, dog, get out the fence.
I think he's gonna have a strong. I mean, what do you want from me? I said a strong finish. Like, I think.
Is he gonna make the quarterfinals?
I think when he says he's gonna have a strong finish, I think that means he makes the quarters. They're gonna have to untie this knot here soon. Well, I guess they're going to. That's why they fight, don't they?
Yes, sir.
Hiroki Goto sitting at 4. Hiroki Goto had a really good match against Yota Tsuji, in which he won, and then last night he lost to Ren Narita with some bullshit. Zach, where you at?
Oh, man.
What was the first match you said? I watched it, but I can't remember.
Tsuji Goto.
Tsuji. Oh, man, that was so good. Yeah, almost felt like an upset, even though Goto's got to be one of the most winningest dudes in G1 history. Like, as far as, like, from a match perspective, he's just been in G1 for fucking ever, and he's won a couple of them, and, like, he's just one of those guys that's, like, I imagine Brian Danielson watching and being like, I'll be him. Like, he's just like, I can at least do that.
Yes.
So him winning against Tsuji, I hesitate to call it an upset, but it definitely felt like one. But man, that was a killer match.
I loved it when Goto was fighting Narita and Gabe Kidd was talking shit about Narita, and he's like, "Look at you, man! You're getting your ass beat by a 40-year-old." And what is the surprise to me is Yota Tsuji, with all those guys with 6 points in Block B, Yota Tsuji is sitting with 4. He had the aforementioned match against Goto in which he lost, and then he beat Oleg Boltin Now that was a quick match. What do you think, Jason?
Like I said in the preview, to me, it's not a huge surprise that Yota Tsuji is not at the top of the block. He did win the New Japan Cup. Nobody's ever won the New Japan and the G1. So, I mean, him scuffling a little bit is not a big surprise. Goto getting the lick back for losing the New Japan Cup final to Tsuji shouldn't be a surprise. So, I mean, that's just G1 booking, and that's fine. Ultimately, Tsuji is the least of my worries at this point. He'll be fine if he doesn't make the quarterfinals. It's okay. He had a pretty good run up to this point so far.
Bolton Oleg also has 4 points.
Ah, dog.
He beat ELP and he lost to Yota Tsuji. Jason.
I love Bolton Oleg. I think him jumping up from the base of the ring up to the ring steps is very Brock Lesnar-ish, and I don't think that gets enough play. You know, that just right there shows his athleticism. Now you be put on the Bruce strength. God forbid if he learns a submission or two. The sky is the limit for Bolton Oleg. You know what I'm saying? The bars gimmick might be a little goofy, but I'm willing to look past that.
Zach.
Yeah, I mean, Lesnar is exactly who he reminds me of. Athletic gaijin wrestler type. He does a lot of like similar moves. He is a guy who's going to take some losses, but I love his inclusion in this block. Like Bill said, it makes it more interesting. There's more variety here. There's more styles clashes, and he brings a utility to the G1 that is lacking. And he's going to take some losses, but he's had some very fun to watch matches.
El Phantasmo bringing up the rear with 2 points. We talked about it. He lost to Bolton Oleg, and he lost to Jeff Cobb. This is what El Phantasmo was here for, and we all knew that was going to happen. We all knew he was going to take a bunch of pins. We weren't going to get an El Phantasmo run. Does anybody disagree?
No, not really. Just no payoff for Hikuleu's departures.
The payoff is he's sad.
Great. Disappointing, ultimately. I didn't think he would, be a factor, but just damn, he's got too much talent to be being booked in a scenario where he's behind in points to a Bolton Oleg.
The matches are good.
The matches are good, but,
Zach?
Yeah, it wasn't like ELP dipping his toe into the G1. Like ELP, he's much more like a BSOJ guy. He's making the transition into heavyweight. I never expected him to have a great tournament, but I expect him to have good matches, which he's done.
Hey, let me take a step back on that. You rather him be a junior versus a heavyweight?
I would rather him be it. He just comes off more like a junior than a heavyweight. His his moveset and stuff.
Okay, I can't necessarily say I disagree with that part. I can totally see why you say it. I don't necessarily mind him being a heavyweight and have that moveset. It's just a little different, but I do agree with you. It's a junior moveset. I like ELP, and like I said, for me, he should be, one of those guys that, should be jostling for one of New Japan's mid-card titles versus bringing up the rear and the B block.
And that is your...
Yeah, I like him a lot. I like him a lot. I feel like it's funny because I feel like Jason and I will kind of like not even butt heads, but just have different viewpoints on stuff. Because like guys that I like, I'm totally fine with just like losing all the time. Like I just like watching them. Like I don't feel bad for them, like in a kayfabe sense. So I'm like, they're like making a paycheck.
He's a professional wrestler plying his trade. That is
exactly.
That is your BFR G1 nights 5 through 8 recap, and I think there's going to be 4 more. I think we got 4 more to watch next week with our SummerSlam recap too.
Starting on Saturday.
Speaking of SummerSlam, that's going to do it for our 3 count.
1, 2, 3.
Oh, I forgot we had predictions. Yeah.
The biggest party of the summer.
I'll make them real quick.
It's too late, man. We're not going to make it. So we have SummerSlam coming up this Saturday, and there's 7 matches on the card. And like I said earlier, 6 of them are for title belts. So we're going to start at the top is what they had on Wikipedia. We are going to go Damian Priest versus Gunther for the World Heavyweight Championship. Jason, who do you got?
I said Gunther, not backing down off of it. I would be stunned if Gunther did not win the title on Saturday night. I'm taking Gunther to win.
Zach, who you got?
Getting Gunther after Damian Priest forgets to kick out.
Oh, stop.
So you're taking Gunther.
I am, regardless.
Yep. Up next for the women's SmackDown belt. I'm sorry, I don't know what they're called. We have Bayley versus Nia Jax. Zach, who do you got?
This is one of those things where I'm going to bet with my head and not my heart. I think we're just going to be Nia Jax. I don't want it to be, but goddamn, like Jason said, this Bayley reign's been nothing. Like, it's not like, why prolong it? Just fucking kill it. And the Nia Jax reign ain't going to be great either, but they've been building her up for a minute. So, something new. It's a title change for the folks. Yeah.
Oh, man. I think I already wrote mine down, but Zach just kind of talked me into it. Jason, who do you got?
Shit, he wasn't talking me into it. I was leaning that way anyway. Not even for just the fact of Bayley's lackluster run, but just, Nia Jax. I've been saying it for a while. I wouldn't be too upset with it. If she became champion, this feels like a spot where you can have Tiffany, teasing Nia Jax, and I think people would be entertained with that. I was leaning to it. Fuck it, let's do it. I'll take Nia Jax.
I'm going Bayley.
Nia in the bloodline.
Shit, man, stop. I'm not even going to go there. Naomi should go in first, but that's just me.
I'm taking Bayley just because she did have that great run up to WrestleMania, and her title reign has been, just okay. They're in the mood for long-term storytelling. I could see something where Tiffany gets in the way or something, and Nia Jax wins it the next one, and then Tiffany catches in on Nia Jax, something like that. So I am taking Bayley. Who do you got? All right. Next up, we have Liv Morgan versus Rhea Ripley for the Raw Women's Championship. Who do you have, Jason?
Said it, not backing off of it. I'm taking Liv Morgan. This is the turn of the night, swerve of the night, whatever words you want to use in the sentence. Liv having the promo on Raw on Monday night, melting down because of Dominic's rejection, only will add to the gas when we finally see Dominic put the knife into Rhea Ripley's back. I'm taking Liv Morgan to retain. Three Beard, you're up.
I got the same reason.
Okay, well, shit, that makes it easy. Mr. Vagey, we are both taking Liv Morgan for all the reasons I just said. Are you in concert with us, or are you going to go the other way?
No, I'm going to go Liv too. Too much story here. They're not done telling this story yet. I'm taking Liv too. So,
okay, so 30 seconds. Just yes or no, is this the end of Judgment Day? Because now Rhea Ripley and Damian Priest, by our standards, have both lost. Is this the end of Judgment Day? Yes or no?
Yes, it's the end of Judgment Day.
3 Beer?
As we know it, yes.
I agree with 3 Beer.
He's going to have to wear a different shirt. It's not going to have the same 4 names on it.
I agree with 3 Beer.
I'm skipping what Wikipedia had next. We have Logan Paul versus L.A. Knight for the U.S. title. Man, I really haven't thought about this.
Logan Paul going home.
I tell you what, if you would have asked me this question before I saw Logan Paul's tweet about the Olympics, I'd probably have a different answer.
What a jack off. God, they're in Cleveland. I'm picking LA Knight. Jason, who you got?
I got LA Knight too. I was leaning that way anyway. I think this tweet doesn't necessarily help Logan Paul. Ultimately, I think Logan Paul is bigger than the U.S. title. The LA Knight and the U.S. title fits about right. So I'm taking LA Knight.
So all three of us have LA Knight. Or Zach, who do you got?
Yeah.
Okay, there it is.
All the people staying.
For the Intercontinental Championship, we have Sami Zayn, who is your current title holder, versus Braun Breaker. Jason, who do you have?
You got to take Braun, right? I mean, you don't want to. I'm not saying that Carmelo Hayes is fucked up. He's just, it's a slow start. Braun Breaker's on point right now. He is over as a heel. People want to see him smash motherfuckers up. This will be a nice person to follow up the Gunther reign. Sammy's always kind of felt like a transitional champion. He feels like a guy that should be chasing the world title at this point. I'm taking Braun Breaker.
I am taking Braun Breaker for all of those reasons. They had Sami Zayn go over clean and go over pretty strong on the last pay-per-view on Money in the Bank. So I think they did that, kind of as a attaboy. And then Braun Breaker is going to win at SummerSlam. Zach, who do you got?
Yeah, so far, we're pretty much in simpatico on everything except that WWE Women's Championship match. So,
yeah, so up next we have CM Punk versus Drew McIntyre. Jason, I'll let you go first because you already kind of let the cat out of the bag.
I'm letting that joke out the bag again. I'm taking Drew McIntyre. Seth Rollins, like I said, actions have consequences. If you're going to throw that out there, you're not going to be able to say that and not have some sort of payoff. This is going to be the payoff. CM Punk popping off at the mouth. Seth Rollins costs him the match in some form or fashion to allow Drew McIntyre to take the dub. I got Drew McIntyre.
Zach, who do you got?
Same for the same reason.
Yeah, me too. God damn, that's boring. I thought we were going to get a little bit more ballsy with these fellas. And finally,
you're making me go first.
We have the Tribal Chief, Solo Sikoa, versus Cody Rhodes for the SmackDown Championship. Zach, who do you got?
Stone Cold led by Black of the Week, Cody Rhodes.
I am taking Cody Rhodes. Also, I'd love to see him pull the trigger. I really would love to see them pull the trigger. Jason, who you got?
I agree with Three Beer. This is the Lead Pipe Lock of the Week. I'm taking Cody. There's just not enough reason, bloodline fuckery aside, I just don't think fans would accept it at this point. I think, a lot of fans are still invested in Cody. They're waiting for Roman to come back. I'm waiting for Cody versus Randy. So, I mean, I get it. It's a part of, this Bloodline 2.0, but I don't want to see Solo get the title right now. He'll get it. I just don't want to see it right now.
Okay, and we have those two bonus matches that are on SmackDown this week. We have the Unholy Union versus Bianca Belair and Jade Cargill. Zach, who do you got?
Oh, man. It is tough. If I'm going with a prediction, I kind of flippantly said I don't like the chances of any of them, but if I'm going with a prediction, I'm going to go with the Unholy Union.
Jason, who you got?
Fuck. I'm sticking to my guns. I'm saying that Team Forehead gets involved. Unholy Union retains.
I am taking Bianca Belair and Jade Cargill. Because if they're not winning this match, what are they doing? They haven't really even been on TV. I know they probably have other WWE engagements, but they gave the Unholy Union the big pop at Clash at the Castle. It was nice, There was some tragedy involved. It was a nice story. But Bianca Belair and Jade Cargill should have these belts.
They shouldn't have never lost them.
And we have Jacob Fatu and Tama Tonga versus DIY for the men's heavyweight tag team championships. Who do you got, Jason?
Feel bad for DIY. Really do. I find it very hard for the Bloodline not to come out of this weekend with some sort of gold. So if Solo ain't doing it, I got Jacob Fatu and Tama Tonga doing it. I got the Bloodline.
Who do you got, Zach?
Bloodline for sure.
I am taking DIY because I think that Randy Orton and Kevin Owens are going to get involved, and they're going to come out and fuck with the Bloodline, and it's going to set up a big old schmoz at the end of the pay-per-view. It might be after the match ends, but there is going to be a big old schmoz.
Well, no, that'll be.
Oh yeah, I guess I never thought about that.
That'd be on SmackDown, but yeah. You're talking about after Cody wins, everybody's gonna come out.
Yeah, there's gonna be like 30 minutes of the pay-per-view left after Cody wins.
Oh Jesus Christ!
That's what I think is gonna happen. I think Roman's gonna come out. I think we all think Roman's coming out, right?
No.
You don't think he's coming out?
I give it like a 25% chance that he comes out.
You think Roman's gonna miss SummerSlam? It's the biggest party of the summer.
I don't see a reason for Roman to reappear at SummerSlam after a Solo Sikoa loss. If he won, okay, now we're talking about something entirely different. I just think that this is like you guys said, this is either Jimmy Uso returning or Hikuleo debuting in some form or fashion. This is just too early for Roman to come back.
All right.
When does Raw start on
Netflix?
He comes back on SmackDown. I think he comes back to top of rating and they announce it.
Yeah, I mean, I guess I can see that.
Surprised.
It's the biggest party of the fucking summer,
dude.
though.
I get it. They're
It's
okay without Roman.
It's the second biggest SummerSlam in history after Wembley.
See that?
Thanks, Zach.
If a pay-per-view happens in the forest and it doesn't make a sound. No, friend of the show, Michael Wallace Seals, was on Friends of BFR talking about how good Ring of Honor Death Before Dishonor was, and if I hadn't gone to 2 Fish shows this week, I probably would have watched it. I did not get around to watching it.
Just so much upheaval in J-Bell land.
I believe that it was good.
There's matches that
I heard the women's match was phenomenal.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's matches I would want to see, even at the top of the card, included Briscoe versus Roddy Strong, even though I knew who won. I think it'd still be a match to watch. Kingdom retaining. I'm a huge Matt Taven guy. Him and Mike Bennett, I don't think he had enough credit as a team. Yeah, there's plenty of talent in ROH. Just wish I'd see it more, which should be in a spot where I could actually watch it and not have to hunt it down.
And I gotta say, I read what happened on NXT, and it doesn't look like I missed much.
Roxanne Lowe was good. I thought the Heritage Cup match was good.
The main event was really good. The Roxanne and Thea Hale was really good.
Yeah, I like that. The Heritage Cup match was good. God, I can't think of what the other title match was.
I mean, Hendry came out and cut a promo, and Joe Coffey got involved.
Good on Joe Hendry. I mean, I would not be surprised if Joe Hendry wins an NXT title of some sort. I'll go that far. I think we're getting to that point where him not winning the TNA title last weekend, to me, is a sign. I don't think you can let this momentum go to waste.
Well, I don't know what his contract status is, but I bet he's going to be in WWE proper pretty soon.
I think he's still signed with TNA for a little bit. We'll see what happens, but like I said, him being an NXT champion wouldn't hurt anybody. In fact, I think it helps everybody.
Hey, everybody, we got some birthdays this week. Mike Chioda, 58 years old. Devon Dudley is 52. Yoshi Tatsu, 47. I wonder, did Yoshi Tatsu ever fight in New Japan?
I think he went over to DDT after leaving WWE.
I bet he can fucking go.
I remember I watched a couple of matches in DDT. He's more...
Indeed. Was he the Indeed guy?
No, that was Funaki.
Oh, fuck. God, that's racist.
He went to New Japan right after his release from WWE.
Wonder if he was in the G1.
No.
Not under a different name?
I think we would have seen that one. We watched enough G1s, since the pod had started. I think if he was in a G1, we'd have probably been like, oh, shit.
Man, I don't know. Okay, Austin Theory is 27. Damian Sandow, the aforementioned, 42. Dean Malenko is 64. Kazarian is 47. Dino Bravo,
R.I.P.
would have been 75. And Tony Nese is 39.
I think he got killed by the Montreal mob. That's what you get when you owe somebody money.
Hey, everybody. We know there's tons of podcasts to listen to, so we appreciate you guys listening to our podcast. For Tinder Mahal, who I saw at the Fish Show the other day. He was working.
Check.
For Murray the Merman, Murray for Patriot Pat, for Britt Jagger, for Vice.
Check. Red LC this weekend.
For Two Beer Zach Pullman.
Check,
for
Vice.
Jason Cornelius Bell.
Check.
I am
Konnichiwa,
Bill Vagey.
bitches.
Remember,
Check.
everybody, Black Lives Matter.
Check.
Support your local weed dealers.
Check.
Support your local restaurants. Free Palestine. Give your parents a call.
Double
Go
check.
see Fish on tour and
Check.
never forget to boo the heels.